promotion in Super League is linked.
So what makes the Super League so good?
Take a look at the
and it's probably one of the most unique leagues in the world.
the most immersive experience possible.
So great is the competitiveness of it, and the talent that we have now on offer.
There's nothing else in the world like it. It's the most realistic sim racing experience anywhere.
Well, it's that time of the week once again, ladies and gentlemen, where we find ourselves here at the GPVWC Super League once again for round 13 of the championship. 4 rounds to go, and a championship leader is emerging, but it could all change in 4 races. And we might find ourselves crowning a different champion to who we thought at the end of this season, or we might crown a 2-time champion in just 4 races' time. I'm Josh Anderson, and of course, as always, I'll be taking alongside and through the action as it develops here at the Sochi Grand Prix circuit, and alongside me, Ewan Gale. Ewan, great to have you here. And Sochi, a very interesting track as we head into qualifying now. Drivers just on their outlaps at the moment, but this is going to be an interesting one because it is a very unique circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. Not really another circuit like it on the calendar. Plenty of traction zones that sort of, they're halfway around the corner, really, especially as you see now on screen. You know, you're turning left as you're putting the power down, and it's, you know, very technical for the drivers to get right in qualifying. Obviously, going to be crucial, but in the race when they're looking after their tyres as well. So, be interesting to see who can master that. Obviously, Dennis Jordan won last time out in Singapore, which really hurt Simracing and Buck, who were trying to capitalise and get the big points with Adam Maguire not there. But Buck, you know, still at the top of standings. Be really cool to see what everyone can do.
It will be, yes, indeed. And of course, fantastic win by Dennis Jordan last time round puts him in 4th in the championship ahead of Matthew Meineck. As its current championship permutations as follows: there was obviously 100 points remaining to be won by drivers in the remaining 4 races of the championship, because one win rewards you with 25 points. Meaning, theoretically, only the top 3 are still in championship contention. That being Yannick Bock, Adam Maguire, and Yerny Simracing. Now, Bock's current lead over Maguire, because Maguire was not present, obviously, as we mentioned, in Singapore. Bock's lead over Maguire, Yannick Bock has 215 points, and Adam Maguire has 182. So, quick maths dictates that's 33 points he holds the gap over. Theoretically, Bock could wrap the championship up with 2 rounds to go. So if he takes a win here today, he's in prime position to do that. Yeah,
absolutely. And you know, you've got to think that that's obviously what he's going to be aiming to do. You want to win every single race, but only 3rd last time out, behind Simracing, behind his teammate Dennis Jordan. Dennis Jordan has got the form at the moment. He's won 2 races since we come back from the summer break, and he's looking fast. So Yannick does have to keep his wits about him, especially with Maguire back there in the mix as well. And also we're seeing plenty of incidents with a few of the drivers up the top, you know, getting close. It's going to happen when everyone's so good and they're all lapping at the same lap time anyway. So it'll be very interesting to see first lap times coming through in qualifying.
Yeah, it will be. We've just seen Giuseppe Ragusa having a bit of a moment there as he contemplated continuing his lap. and managed to get it across the line about a second down on the leader. So he will be hoping to get a slightly more clean exit out of the last turn that time. It is a very difficult corner, that final thing, because you just come out of a slow corner. You want to put the power on for the main straight, but put it on too much, and you got problems because the start-finish line is so close.
Yeah, exactly, and it changes as well depending on whether you're on an out lap or a fast lap, because you sort of attack the apex a little bit more on your fast lap and really chuck the car in. But on your out lap, you're really staying way wide and sort of turning the car in at the last possible moment to get your traction down the straight on your fast lap. So let's see what Masciuli does. We'll see what I mean, take it as wide as he can onto the curb and then really attack the curb on the inside and not really drift too far out wide on the exit.
Yeah, 4 seconds gap the first at the moment. Obviously, he hasn't really set any competitive laps, but I assume that will change as the session progresses. Obviously, he will want to significantly improve on that. Jenny Simracing is down in 15th as well, so obviously not really posted any competitive lights, just posted a sight there, really 12 seconds down on the leader, so he'll be going for a hot lap soon. You've got to imagine as well. Adam Maguire, though, leading the charge at the moment in the qualifying session. 2:01 his time from right kill. It was just 400 behind. So Maguire leading the early order, but looking further up and down the grid, of course, you've got significant misses from there. Yannick Bock yet to set a lap. He's about to, though. Dennis Jordan yet to set a lap. Gimona Zapala yet to set a lap. Liam Duvall yet to set a lap. So you get a feeling this might change a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Very clever tactics from Burst just now, going down the second straight. It looked like Panzer was sort of lurking and waiting for Simracing so that he could give him a toe down the straight. Simracing attacks the final corner then. A bit of a swap run through, but he goes 2/10 faster than Adam Maguire.
Yeah, obviously, at the moment, Simracing then on pole goes 2/10 faster. He has broken the 32 barrier, by the way. That was a 1:31.998 for Yannick Simracing, so it's certainly possible to break the 1:32s. We've seen that now, and the other drivers will be aiming for that as their target.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know they're only going to get faster. Like you said, there's plenty of people who haven't set a lap time, and you know the track will get faster as well through the session. Duval's only just come out of the pits, I think, so he's going to be up there as well, you would think, although he has tended to be a little bit slower than Adam Maguire. Again, look, I think this is HRT using the toe down the back straight. You know, it's going to be key, and it'll be interesting to see which teams use the first straight down the pit straight and into turn 1 and 2 as the slipstream in corner, and which teams will use, as you can see, down the back straight into turn 12 and 13.
Indeed, and yeah, we're watching Norman Kiersmakers, obviously, who himself does have a 10-place grid penalty to serve this race. It should be noted, he has a 10-place grid penalty to serve, as does Vincent Gutt, as does a couple of other drivers as well, depending on whether they show up. And obviously, this is going to impact Kiersmakers' starting position. He is actually setting laps, obviously, which is a market strategy for some drivers who may not set laps if they have grid penalties, just to try and serve it without losing any positions. But Lauren is actually trying to go for it here, so I assume he will not want to qualify in the top 10, because then he'll have to start on the tyres that he qualified on, and that's a significant disadvantage.
Yeah, but then there's a flip side to that, which if you've got the pace, you may as well try and start as far up the grid as possible with your penalty, and then be able to make a few overtakes, because if you're going to make 3 overtakes and you start 15th, it's better than making 3 overtakes and starting 28th. So, you know, obviously pit strategy usually tends to play a big part in the race if you're starting from towards the back, as Dennis Jordan gets a tow from one of the Burst cars, interestingly. But yeah, Kiersmakers has it all to do really with that penalty.
Yeah, Kiersmakers really with it all to do at the moment, obviously in P12 as well. Not exactly his best qualifying position of the season. He will obviously be hoping to improve on his time if he is going for it, though he's not looking to do that this lap. He is a bit slower at the moment. I think maybe he might be best off just trying to get as close to P10 as he can, but not actually going in the top 10. He's actually only a little bit ahead of David Feidick at the moment, who's in P13 in the Red Arrow, who is, it must be said, for a team that has struggled somewhat this season, is actually doing quite well in qualifying at the moment, Feidick. So obviously has this circuit nailed down, so to speak. Obviously a 2-time former champion as well, but has had a bit of a tough season. Only scored 21 points, and his team, Red Arrow, are down in second and last with 26 points.
Yeah, absolutely. On screen now, Dennis Jordan has added slipstream on pretty much every little bit of straight he can on this track. Plenty of traffic out there as teams and drivers try and get round to start their own lap times. Jordan's going to come around the final 2 corners now. Then he'll be fully committed into the first part of the right-hander, go as wide as he possibly can, open up the final corner, get as close to the orange curb without hitting it as possible. That's a pretty. It's not a good lap time actually from Dennis Jordan, down to 7th and 7/10 off. So wonder whether the traffic affected him a little bit.
Yeah, this is going to be obviously a bit of an interesting one, but yeah, we'll see indeed how Friday can get up, and obviously a good result here would really bolster their hopes of retaining in Super League for 2021. Obviously, we do have a relegation system, which means that the lowest team in the championship each year is considered for relegation. Obviously, sometimes it transpires that we don't need to relegate a team, but a good result here for Red Arrow will help them overtake the likes of Green Stripes, possibly Cosmo YTF1, Flag to Flag in this very hotly contested lower midfield battle. And that might help them going into 2021 as well, because obviously better results means more prize money at the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got to think as well, Sixter and the Mad Cape continually impressing with his qualifying performances. The bad luck that he's experiencing in the races is going to run out eventually, and you can't just keep on banking on that if you're someone like Red Arrow or Green Stripes. So if Sixter's going to keep doing this as he's up in 4th at the moment, then you'd expect Mad Cape to jump off the bottom of the table, and then you're looking at Red Arrow, Green Stripes, Cosmo, all together flag to flag as well.
Yeah, indeed. Luke Maguire, speaking of flag to flag, is currently in P10 at the moment. He is there and in obviously doing a very good job as well, because Maguire is definitely, compared to his brother Adam, obviously, you know, we've always said that they're quite similar, but he's a flag to flag car this year, and you got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been impressive whenever he's been in the car, especially towards the start of the year when he was doing a few stand-in performances. Obviously, he's in a bit more regularly now and doing a really good job. Fabrizio Gobi just missed the pit entry. It looked like the commit line on just before the penultimate corner and ended up having to cut over the orange curb. So I don't know whether he'll be in trouble for that or not. But yeah, a bit dodgy because one of the Cosmos were coming in behind him, almost had a bit of an accident.
Yeah, indeed. And while there's 4 minutes left to go in qualifying, then we're watching Eris Pashuli as he comes across the line, improves to P7 with a bit of oversteer to boot. So Mashirley definitely a couple of extra tenths in there, you got to think. And we'll see if he can improve on that, obviously, as the session continues. He doesn't have that much time to do it, though. So, if there's any time to do it, now is that. Right, Kilk, 2nd place at the moment for Red Archer. This is a very good result from him.
Yeah, absolutely. And he was up there in practice as well, pretty consistently lapping pretty close to the low 132s, almost in the 131s now as well. Look at the evolution, boys. They are the 9th and 13th at the moment. Yannick Bock, championship leader, in 13th on a 132.8. He's still got a pretty big margin to close up with as well. So it's not like we've seen at other tracks where it's been 2 tenths covering the top 10. It's a big gap to find that.
Yeah, indeed, a big gap to find. Obviously, 2 tenths in Super League is quite the gap. So some work to be done, you imagine, but not much time to get said work done. Liam Duvall and Aaron Maguire both leaving the pits in the Adonises now to complete their final laps. Yanni Simic is coming across the line as well. Will he improve? Yes, he does, at 131.7. That is a significant improvement from Yanni Simic there. Puts half a second between him and Kilk, but there's still time for Kilk, Duvall, Maguire, etc. to improve. Fabio Sixter really needs to get a move on if he wants to get another lap, and I think he's going to do that now. Matthias Moose up there in Red Archer's P6 as well. This is a very strong showing for the Greek outfit.
Yeah, absolutely. And everything I said about Duvall tending to be slower than Adam Maguire, he's obviously gone into 3rd ahead of Maguire as well. So good job from Liam. Great mixed top 10, really, isn't it? You know, Ruwald's usually up there a little bit more than he is, but obviously 10th not bad when you've got so many people vying for position. Panzar only 14th. Mlynek, who's 5th in the championship, best of the rest, really. He's down in 15th. Kuzmek is only 17th, having tried to put a quality time in. So that's obviously the pure pace that he's got at the moment. Very interesting to see where everyone's going to filter out.
Yeah, indeed. Obviously going to be great to see how this qualifying session ends. There's a huge amount of time between Simitic and the rest of the field at the moment. We'll have to check, obviously, the car upgrades and all. I'll have to see if Burst have put a big upgrade in. They are 3rd in the championship for the teams, I believe, at the moment as well. So any results here that can help them close the gap, I don't know whether they can actually overtake the likes of Adonis and Evolution before the end of the season, but any closing of the gap is going to be a good thing for the likes of Yerny and his teammate Robin Panzar as well. Panzar down in 15th though, so struggling a bit at the moment. Fabio Sixta has gone out on track. Oh, he's currently P5. We'll be hoping to improve in that, Mad Cape. And that is a team that's been blighted with a lot of misfortune this season. Obviously, started the season out and obviously ended up quite near the back, but then they brought Fabio Sixta in, and throughout the season, really, he's been blighted with internet issues and has never really managed to show his true form. So if he can get some good results at the board here, he might just be the driver that saves Mad Cape from relegation this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And, mid-season takeover as well. Lee Davison coming in, who obviously experienced with Epic Racing before. And they were pretty decent last season and seasons before. But yeah, Fabio Sixta, we know he's got the pace. He's a race winner in this series.
Ooh.
And he's always qualifying well. As Matthias Moos goes second with a fantastic lap. Yannick Bock only went 9th though.
Bock only 9th at the moment, now down to 10th in fact. As Yamana's Apollo moving up the order too, but that is a brilliant result so far from the Red Archer boys. 2-3 on the cards. That would be the best qualifying result in a while, I think.
Yeah, it would be. And, those two always seem to pick up points and good points at that. And, they're always right in there to pick up the pieces when people have issues in front of them. But to be in the top 3, both of them at the moment, ahead of both Adonises, ahead of both Evolutions, that's just pure pace. Fantastic to see.
You got to remember as well that there was a very good race last time around as well. Well, actually, strike that, reverse it. I'm looking at an old article, sorry, I was looking at the news article, but they had a very good result in Bahrain, certainly. And they've been improving ever since the start of the season, so they've been moving up the order. Adam Maguire, though, goes second, and the timer has it up, so these will be the final laps. Maguire, a 10th down in the end. So he manages to get a very good lap on the board. Matthias Moos is going to be, I think, he's let his teammate do to have another go. He's had his lap. So Ray Kelp will be watching. Liam Duvall has come in. He finishes P5. Fabio Sixta. What will Sixta be capable of? There is a personal best on the cards here. Possibly not fastest lap overall, but Sixta manages to go 4th and saves the oversteer right for the right second. Kelp coming into the pits, obviously, so he won't do a further lap in this session. Looking up and down the field, it doesn't look like there's anyone really going to topple Simracing at the moment. It looks like it's going to be him on pole then. Jeffrey Fournier improves to P8 for Red Arrow, but he has a grid penalty to take as well, so it'll be more like P18 for the Frenchman. But it looks to me, from where I'm sat, that it's going to be Yannick Simracing on pole.
Yeah, absolutely. Matthew Mlinek, only 19th at the moment. Let's see where he goes for Edge. Stays 19th. So that's not good for him either. And like I said, he's usually a top 10 regular. So Edge struggling, Evolution struggling, and Adam Maguire up in second behind Simracing. Championship game on.
Very much so. Bock all the way down in 13th, a second off the pace. That is uncharacteristic for the world champion there. Usually he's right up there in qualifying. His teammate has overtaken him. And Bock has got to be concerned now because Maguire has come back and made an immediate statement.
Yeah, absolutely. And, looking at Maguire straight away faster than Duval by 0.3. Dennis Jordan 0.2 faster than Bock. So, Bock's obviously struggling. Is that setup? Is that development on the car? Is it just that the car doesn't suit the circuit? Because obviously we've seen some teams do well at some circuits and then struggle at others. So, it might be that they knew it was going to be painful this week. And that's just something they'll have to live with. But he'll definitely want to advance through the field at the start of the race. The earlier he can do it, the better. Otherwise, strategy is going to get a bit complicated.
Well, I mean, you look at the likes of Basilia, Red Archer, Street Fighter up there. Very good results for them. I mean, I'm looking at the likes of Germano Zapala in P12, who had a very good qualifying by his standards for Street Fighter, and certainly going to be an interesting race. I mean, looking at the development side of things, looking at Red Archer's car, it's pretty much as good as the Abruzzi, which is the best car at the moment. Not far behind it at all. And Basilia and Street Fighter have got very similar offerings. Adonis is not very far off the ball as well, as our Evolution. So we've got 6 cars very, very closely matched in the development front. So 6 really teams that should be pushing for race wins.
Yeah, absolutely. And for one reason or another, they haven't been able to do that. And, it's pretty much been monopolised this season by Adonis, Burst, and Evolution, with a few other results thrown in there for good measure. So, will we see someone like a Moose or a Sixter or a Kilk take the victory tonight. Be great, because it would really spice the championship up as well, because it would mean that Maguire and Simic have lost out. But yeah, all eyes really down the grid. I mean, look, Lineck is right down there, Panzer's right down there, Box right down there. Even Luke Maguire, like you said earlier, he's raced fantastically, pulled off some great manoeuvres this season. So plenty of racing to be had, I think.
Jack Mayer, though, has requested his lap speed deleted in and amongst all this. Mayer was 20th anyway, so I'm not sure he loses much by this. So he will from this request, and well, he'll just start at the back and pretty much get free choice over his tyres anyway. So not much lost. I mean, if he thinks he's cut the track and he's not going to qualify that well anyway, hardly anything to be lost by it. You protect yourself.
Yeah, and you protect yourself for the next race as well when penalties come into effect. So it's really smart, that, from Jack.
Yep, and Lauren Keersmakers and Robin Panzer are requesting the same because they have 10 race play penalties, so they can just protect themselves further. And well, that's going to shuffle the grid up when we actually get back into the race situation. But obviously, you know, this is a perfectly legitimate tactic. If you think you've got the track, then just ask for your lap to be deleted so you save yourself. I mean, it's the sensible thing to do, really. But as we were saying, yeah, Red Archer with a fantastic qualifying. So look, they're staring down the barrel of a 3.5 here to start the race with. That could be a significant improvement considering some teams are really far down the order.
Yeah, well, it does, as we've seen with Evolution and Burst so far this season. It really opens up the strategy. You can have one run a little bit longer maybe and try and do something different to throw the other teams around you off. So, yeah, really interesting to see what those two can do. We've seen Kilk in previous seasons, and Moose for that matter, you know, really strong performances in the race, probably more so in the race than in qualifying. So now they're starting closer to the top. Will they be able to continue that trend?
Well, I'll have to say, I mean, they have the car to do it. They certainly have the drivers. If qualifying's ending to go by, could Sochi be the site of a surprise Red Archer victory? We'll have to see. I mean, there's 7 minutes and 33 seconds to go until we go to the race and find out. But as far as they're concerned, this could be the race for them. And you look at those cars, you know, the 76 car there and the 70 car, and you must think that they're trying to push hard because they put fresh engines in the cars. There's 4 races to go. Both cars have over 90% on their engine condition, so they're really going for it this race, it seems.
Yeah, and obviously that'll help with overtaking as well down the 2 long straights here at Sochi. So, yeah, that's obviously something that was preconceived at the start of the season. It's good planning, and usually if you plan well, you finish well. So, yeah, good job there from the team.
Yeah, looking at the engines, actually, there's several teams who are, this might explain why they're further down the order, because both Evolutions have very low engines by several standards. The number 15 car, which is Bach, has a 40%, and there's a 37% in Jordan's car, which might explain the lack of power that they might have, and that might, obviously, with this being such a power-hungry circuit with some long straights and DRS zones, that might explain why the likes of Jordan and Bach have struggled so much in qualifying, because they just don't have the top-end power that Valiant engine should provide, and it's actually the worst of the 3 engines at the moment, if you consider overall points. But then again, they have done the most work for engine mapping, so the difference that they've looked for might be being offset by a low engine percentage.
Yeah, possibly, but of course that means that offset has happened either earlier in the season or is still to come when they put a new set of engines in. So, you know, everything goes around, it comes back around as well. So I'm sure they wouldn't be worried too much. I'm sure they would have planned for that at the start of the season, like we said. So it's obviously something they thought about. Maybe they thought that this was the best place to do it because there's overtaking opportunities here. There isn't opportunities really in Japan for overtaking. I mean, there's 1 or 2, but it's a pretty narrow old school circuit. So that might be what they're playing at with this one.
Yeah, we should point out, by the way, Evolution do use Quasar engines, not Valiant. It's that's a Bruises, and well, I don't think the Bruisey cars had a great qualifying anyway, so my point kind of stands. But you know, looking at the Evolution cars and their engine percentage, it could be worse. Edge Esports have got it worse. Their number 96 car, which I believe is driven by Maciej Mlinek, that's got a 21% engine. So he's going to be even worse. Now, Matty Mlinek, obviously, that might explain why he's been a bit far down the order. But the lower your engine percentage gets, the more likely it is that it will fail. Now, that's not to say that engine failure always happens at 0%. It's just more likely. It removes lifetime from the engine. So Matty Mlinek is going to have to nurse that engine to the end of the race. If wear rates over the season have been anything to go by, we expect about 30 to 40% per race.
Yeah, and that engine would have had a hammering in Singapore. It'll have a bit of a hammering through the final sector around here as well. Everywhere else it'll be all right. I think it shouldn't be too high wear on the engine. Down the straight here should be fine. Down through the rest of sector 1 through sector 2 as well. Not too high revs in terms of traction zones, but the last sector, you know, when you turn in whilst you're putting the loud pedal down, that's when you're going to struggle with the wear rate. So. Yeah, that's going to be tight for Massier. That's probably why he struggled so much in qualifying. And with Stefan Ruel only 4 points behind, his 5th place in the championship might be in a bit of trouble.
There may be concern indeed, we'll have to see. But could be interesting to see how this all pans out, these little twists and turns that we found. And it really could make for an interesting race. Of course, 53 laps will be the race distance here around the Sochi circuit. And obviously, with 1 minute 35 laps happening in the warm-up here, which is usually more indicative of race pace. You do the maths, Ewan Gale. You'll find that a 95-second lap times 53 equals roughly an hour and 23 minutes. So that's not very long.
No, and of course that will fluctuate a little bit between. It'll probably be a bit slower than we're seeing in warm-up at the moment at the start of the race, and probably a little bit faster at the end of the race. We're about 4 seconds down on what we had in qualifying. So I imagine, you know, in race you usually get laps that are sort of 2 seconds down on qualifying towards the end of the race. So probably there or thereabout as it sorts itself out, but it's not going to be a long one.
It is not going to be a long race by any means of the imagination. These drivers are going to have to get in and get their strategies sorted and really make an immediate impact. And, well, that is going to be an interesting one. It's a lot like Monza, actually. And that turned out to be a very interesting race, didn't it?
No, it did. It absolutely did. And obviously that was a little bit of the weather helping that one as well. I don't think we're going to have any of those issues tonight. What this track does have, though, in its favour, a little bit like Monza, is there are overtaking opportunities. So that allows drivers to get a little bit more clever on strategy. We didn't see that in Singapore because it's a bit more difficult to overtake there. It was tight and twisty. But you've got 2 long DRS straights here. You've got a few more overtaking opportunities, like out of turn 3 into turn 4, the long turn 3, after the first corner. So a bit of overtaking can be done. That probably allows undercuts to come back into play, and they might also allow overcuts as well if you come out into a DRS train.
Yep, indeed. And, well, obviously, conditions here at the moment. Speaking about the weather, we have a little bit of a weather report. No rain forecast today here at Sochi. At the moment, it's 26 degrees on track and 26 degrees ambient temperature as well. So the track and ambient sky nicely matched. No signs of any rain and not much wind either. So that's not going to really affect much anyway. Bit of a humid day in Sochi, but that doesn't really, you know, it's not going to affect too much. I mean, the humidity obviously means there's more water in the air, but, you know, no rain forecast, 53 laps of dry racing, it looks like.
Yeah, and that means that we'll be able to see basically exactly the potential of what each car can do around here as well. You know, there's no outside factors determining that. So, yeah, good for racing as well.
Indeed, some fantastic racing looking on the cards today. I mean, people say Sochi, it's a bit of a weird circuit, but you know, it might just produce a fantastic race. Who knows? It's going to be a shorter race. Shorter races are often the interesting ones, I find, and this could be a really good race. If I had to ask you to pick a driver of the you think could win this, though, Ewan Gale, who would that be?
At the moment, I'd probably say Adam Maguire, because it looks like from warm-up at least that he's got some decent race pace in shape. But obviously warm-up you can't really read too much into. But Maguire starting second, he's been faster in races all season. I'd really like one of the Red Archers to do something though, just for a bit of a change. It'd be really interesting to see. But the good thing is that all the top 5 are proper racing drivers. You know, they really do like to overtake. We've seen some good racing from all of them all season, so we should be in for a good race.
Yeah, some really good races indeed. I mean, if I had to pick personally, and I've always been a bit ambitious in my picks, I feel this time around, though, I think it's entirely possible that we could be seeing a Red Archer victory. I am going to punt for Right Kilk.
I like it.
It's worth a shot. I think it's worth taking a gamble on Right today. But the question is Right the right pick? We'll have to see. Is the price right for Sochi? And will the Red Archers get that fantastic victory that I've literally just hoped that they're going to get? Time will tell as time elapses and we wait for the race to begin, which will happen very soon as Chris Williamson, our race director, gives the final starting orders for the drivers. And we wait now for the grid to form and the lights to extinguish. 60 seconds to go until we get ourselves going here in Sochi. Going to be an interesting one for sure. Yerny Simitic will line up on pole position for this Grand Prix, followed by Adam Maguire, Matthias Moose and Fabio Sixter is your top 4. Right Kilk just outside the top 4, but I just compared to Moose that he might have a slightly better race here. But obviously yourself, you've made your pick as well, Ewan Gale, and well, this should be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we've said all the way along, plenty of overtaking opportunities around here. So should be good. Should have a good race in store.
This should be an absolute blinder indeed. Hang on to something, ladies and gentlemen, because I think you're going to need to. This should be a fun one here at Sochi. Short race, 53 laps, short laps, an hour and 20 forecast there or thereabouts. Nice dry race all the way through. Hang on a second, ladies and gentlemen, because here we go. We're about to start the formation lap here in Sochi. So, Yerny Simitic gets off the line. He will lead us on pole position. And he really has to get away well here, Ewan, because of the cars behind him. And if he doesn't get away well and then Maguire gets through very early in the race, this could be a dominant show from the Irishman.
Yeah, and the problem Simitic has got really is of all the tracks to start P1 in, is probably not this one that you want to start with, because Adam will get the slipstream all the way down and Moose will get a double toe as well. So look out for Maguire, Moose, Sixter and Kilk. They'll have the toe all the way down to turn 1 and could get 3 wide into turn 1 as well.
That would be interesting if we did. We always like a bit of 3 wide action, so to speak. Yerny Simitic, though, will lead us from Maguire from Moose, who actually may be a better shot for the win than Right Kilk, but I've made a prediction now and I shall stand by it. But Moose
You don't
really
sound sure.
Well, Moose has some serious potential here. We know how quick he is. If he gets a good start, he can hold these 2 behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I've been impressed with Moose actually this season is his race pace. You know, he hasn't actually shone in qualifying that much, but his race pace has been superb. He's picked up plenty of really decent points through the season. He's only 11th in the championship, but you know he's had a lot of work to do after qualifying performances. So you know he'll end up getting top 10 with the absence of Daniel Brewer, no doubt about it. And like I said earlier, now that he's put in a decent qualifying performance, it'll be really good to see what he can do with his race pace, because he is one of the faster guys. This
definitely is really, I think, a flashpoint here for Matthias Moose. Time to show what you're capable of, mates. And, well, Right Kilk will be gunning from Fabio Sixter. As ever, a very strong qualifier. Will his internet hold out? That's the question. It's been his bugbear this season.
It has, and it's been really frustrating to watch. Because we all know he's got the pace. He had the pace last season and he had a few issues. He's had the pace this season. He's had a few issues. And the worst thing is, it only ever seems to be a problem when he's doing well. It never seems to be when he's down in 15th, 16th, 17th that the internet decides to break on him. So, fingers crossed that all plays out well and we get him down deep into the race and he can get some points on the board for Mad Cape.
We certainly hope he can, because, you know, really one of the more deserving drivers on the grid, Fabio Sixter, really has shown his stuff. And, well, it'd be a shame if he didn't get a good result from P40. They could single-handedly save Mad Cape's season. Liam Duvall, though, another driver who'll be looking for good results, as will Ragusa, Gobi, Jordan, Mashuli, everyone, in fact. But as the drivers round out the field here, David Feidig and the likes is going to take their grid positions now. Very, very close to the exit of the corner for these back-ended drivers. It is going to be an interesting start by the looks of it as well. We got cars left, right, and centre trying to find their grid slot, and Robin Panzer and Lon Kiersmackers will be the final two to do so. But keep an eye on the front of this field. It's going to be Simoncic versus Maguire. Adonis on the left, Basilia on the right. Keep your eyes on this one. This is going to be a duel down to turn one, with drivers behind looking on with exasperation at the possibility of taking first place themselves. The lights come on, and the Sochi Grand Prix is go! Good start for Simoncic, good start for Maguire. Moose gets a good start as well by the looks of it. Six are already on the defensive from Kilk, from Deval, from Gobi, from Ragusa, from Jordan, as they all fly through turn one into two. And this looks like it could get very dicey indeed. Cars going left, right and centre throughout the corner, jostling for position. But it looks like a cleanish start from where I'm sat now as we come to the first couple of corners. Simoncic has held the lead from Maguire, but Matthias Boots has held six to behind. Kilk has gotten through on Deval if he wasn't already there, and Gobi and Jordan are involved in the scrap as well. Looks like this is going to be a good start after all. Oh, Mashuli gets a bit dicey with Jordan there. That is an interesting bit of contact between the two, but nothing massive has come of it, luckily, as the remainder of the cars file through. It's the start that Simoncic wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. Great launch off the line, and he managed to have enough of a gap to get into turn one. Absolutely fine. Maguire really closed up though through the corner and managed to give him plenty of things to think about through turn three. Couldn't get anything done. Moose almost lost his front wing, having a bit of a lunge down the inside, but kept it all clean and stays in turn.
Yeah, Moose tried to have a go, but unfortunately it didn't work out for him. He's going to have to try, obviously, and continue that charge up the grid as he continues this race. Right, Kilk is in P6 at the moment, so down one on Liam Duvall, who has gotten up into the top five. Fabio Sexta holding nicely at the moment, though. Luke Maguire's up to P8. That is a very strong start from the young Irishman. He is definitely having a good race. Two shades of his brother, you might say, but he's in that flag to flag, having a fantastic result at the moment. Dennis Jordan, P9. Now it's surely running at the top 10 from Bach, from Ragusa, from Buralt, from Zapala, and Augustin Canapino, the final point scorer at the end of that one.
Yeah, absolutely. As we've seen from Luke all season, Luke Maguire, that is, he's been fantastic in the race, and some lightning starts have got him up as he goes in front of him. Actually, it was Gobi going past Kilk, I think, or trying to at least. So, yeah, good start for Luke Maguire. A great move as well from Massim Linek on David Feidig for P18. They were side by side all the way around the final sector on the last lap.
Yeah, of course, and Fabrizio Gobi and that, and he's been overtaken there actually by Dennis Jordan, who moves down the inside and does not waste a second doing so. So Gobi demoted down to P9, Jordan already on the charge, and looking at Yannick Bock as well, his teammate down in P11, although here goes Gobi. He's just tried to go for Jordan but failed, and that's cost him a position to Mashuli, and now Shuley Bock as well. But yeah, actually he's got Mashuli back.
Yeah, that all came from Gobi being side by side with Luke Maguire as well. Gobi went wide and allowed Jordan through. So that's the problem at the start of the race. When you've got the pack so close together, you make a mistake, you tend to lose a few places, not just one.
Yeah, this is obviously the thing about losing position. It's better to do it at the end of the race than the start, because losing time then, cars are more spread out, you got more of a gap. You lose time here, you can lose several positions straight off the bat, then suffer for the rest of the race. So Giuseppe Ragusa as well, the other Bruzy car, the number 5 there, struggling in P12 as well to get past Yannick Bock. And, Bock has had an alright start, but he's still nowhere near where he wants to be.
No, but the main thing is he's kept his nose clean. He's still on for points this afternoon. It's a long race, 50 laps still to go. Maguire has not let Simoncic get away up front. It's going to be close. I think he's got DRS as well.
Indeed, and this is obviously where the DRS comes in on lap 3, and this is going to make things really interesting because obviously huge straights here. Give more chance for the DRS to work, and Maguire's chasing down Simicic's target. You can see him constantly making corrections to that steering as they go on board of them, just trying to keep it in line. That car, it must be set up for oversteer rather than understeer, because he's been ragging it around through a lot of the exit of some corners.
Yeah, absolutely. And Maguire, obviously, with dirty air coming off that burst Basilea in front of him, going to be killing his tyres, especially around that long turn 3, and then you've got the medium speed corners through the middle sector. Really needs to make a move. Simracing hasn't got enough speed at the moment to get away. Maguire looked fast and warmer, and he's looking fast here as well. He's going to be plenty close enough to try and have a move into turn 12.
Yeah, plenty close enough to make that move happen, but we'll see if it actually does. Turn 12, obviously an interesting spot to make your shot at an overtake. I mean, as good as any, I suppose, but right now, not much happening. But that will change, I'm sure, in a couple of laps, because the cars will close up as the DRS happens, and we will see some audacious moves happen. And we already have a DNF, actually. I've just noticed. That's a very good point. Cameron Roger in the flag to flag. Now that is interesting. He was at the back in qualifying. Obviously, I don't know whether he's had a problem or something, and he is out of the race now.
Yeah, he's lost it into the left-hander at the end of the second sector. So the left-hander just got. It looked like he actually lost it before the corner, and I don't know whether he had damage beforehand. He was off the back of the pack a little bit. He's backed it into the barrier on the outside. So yeah, that's the end of the race for him.
Now this leads up an interesting little thing. We didn't actually get the chance to talk about this. This is not exactly headline news, but flag to flag were found in breach of a regulation in the previous race regarding spectators, because you're allowed, obviously teams are allowed to have representatives in the server to spectate and spot for them, but flag to flag have been banned from having that for this race. So Cameron Rogers is going to have to get out the server as soon as possible, lest he be suspected of spectating for his own team when he's not allowed to do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much that accounts to drivers, to be fair, because obviously every time you have someone leaving the server, it obviously affects the server a little bit. So I'm sure the drivers themselves aren't party to that. I'm sure it's just outside spectators.
Well, you see, that's an interesting point, because flag to flag as a team are banned from having any representative, and Roger's not allowed to spectate for anyone. So you can argue just by being in there and not driving that he's fulfilling the role of spectator. It's a very technical argument, I suppose, but we'll have to see how this pans out. Yerny Simracing, though, at the front, is having a nice little panning out of his race against Adam Maguire in a far removed scenario from what flag to flag are dealing with. Maguire and Simracing are battling for the lead, and Moose is right there, loving every second of it, because if there's one bit of contact between these two, he stands to gain the most.
Yeah, and this is the thing that these guys have got to think about, because Maguire's not getting through Simracing, it means that Moose has got the RS, and everyone pretty much has got the RS down to Dennis Jordan, but Dennis Jordan's only 1.1 seconds off the back of Maguire, 12 seconds down to Tom Parker in 20th. They've got to start thinking about getting a gap for pit stops.
Indeed, one must consider that, because obviously the pit delta here at Sochi, well, if I'm going to go and look at the pit lane, actually I'm going to get my eyes on it, it is not exactly what you'd call short.
No, a lot of it's to do with how the pit entry is set up. It's quite a slow speed limit in Sochi because of the length of the pit lane. So actually, it's not that long a pit lane, and you can take the pit limiter off pretty early within the confines of the walls. But because it's short, the speed limit comes down, and it sort of makes the time longer. Simracing still far enough ahead for Maguire not to be able to make a move.
Yeah, Simracing obviously at the moment has got that gap to Maguire, but behind Moose is on the threat from De Vries as they come into the turn here. But Matthias Moose just gets a better exit, and he was side by side. He just had the track really. De Vries was never going to make it work, so he just backed off. Moose, though, very well defended, it must be said. And got some very useful information from Colin Spork in the chat. Colin, great to have you with us. Saying it's about 19 to 20 seconds for pit delta, so some time may be lost.
Yeah, of course, Colin doing fantastic in Super League Lights. Obviously, Liam Duval, who we just saw on screen trying to make a move, was his teammate at Cenobite, and then won the championship and has stepped up to Adonis. So, good input from Colin there. Duval couldn't quite make that move. Really good defence from Moose. He managed to hold the line down inside, and there's really not a lot you can do around the outside there unless you can keep a car's width alongside.
Indeed, and this could be a fun one for the rest of the race. Sure, I mean, Maguire was obviously going to try and close in, but then you got the likes of Moose who are going to be defending from Duval. Six are going to try and get a piece of the action as well. And we're only 6 laps into the race, and we're already thinking, this could be quite interesting. And even further down the back, we've got drivers like Jeffrey Forney, Augustin Carapino, Jamano Zapala in huge trains for even the minor points position.
Well, yeah, if you have a look at the screen, you can see 10, 11, 12 cars all following each other down the straight. And this is what I was trying to say about the pit stop delta. You're really in trouble if you're pitting before anyone else and you're getting stuck in traffic, because at the moment, yes, there's overtaking opportunities, but when everyone's got a DRS train in front of them, then everyone's getting the same advantage. So actually, you're not getting an advantage. It all equals itself out. So, yeah, going to be an issue if you're having to pit early, if you can't look after your tyres as well as your competitors.
Could be indeed, and yeah, tyre life as well. Obviously, going to be an interesting one because obviously you got some long corners here, and it's not too hot. So obviously, it's going to be more. I think it's going to be a way limited race, to be honest, not degradation as such, because obviously the corners are largely followed by fast sections, so there's time for the tyres to cool down.
Yeah, absolutely, and this isn't really going to be a rear tyre or front tyre limited circuit. As Moose goes wide at turn 1, that's going to allow De Vries to go all the way around the outside of turn 3, and he gets the job done.
Yeah, indeed, and that is a good place as any to make a move through turn 3. I mean, who will make the best moves through turn 3 throughout the rest of the race? I mean, it's a big, long corner. It's just constant. It's absolutely shredding your tyres sort of corner. But could be interesting to see who will benefit the most from all this. And, well, Simracing has been closed in on actually here by Maguire.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, they're all so close to each other. I think that's kind of what caught Moose out a little bit. He tried to just get on the brakes a little bit later than Maguire in front of him. Bit too late. He didn't go massively wide, but it was enough to have a bit of a shimmy on the exit and let De Vries have a chance to go through around the outside of turn 3. And to be honest, De Vries didn't have to work that hard for it.
No, De Vries never really had to work too hard for that. I think Moose is playing the long game here, and rightly so. He wants to consolidate a good position. And, he'd be right to do that because they're having a very good race at the moment around Archer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we're just coming to the end of lap 7 now, so we'll see lap 8 next. And Stefan Ruolt, by the way, in 13th, first of the medium tyre runners, is only 7 seconds down off the lead. So obviously not a big gap between himself and the leader. That means that he'll be able to go longer in his first stint, and it will bring him right into the equation at the end of the race, probably on fresher tyres.
Yeah, fresh tyres at the end of this race as well are really going to, I think, make a bit of a difference as, cars and drivers wear down, and, the fresh tyres will really help as the fuel levels deplete as well. Hoping for faster laps the drivers will be. And look at the gap now between Maguire and Simracing. It's right down.
Yeah, and to be honest, Simracing doesn't look like getting away, but is he trying to get away? We saw at the start of Singapore he was very good at managing the gap and being just enough ahead to not be overtaken. Obviously made the mistake at turn 14 in Singapore. That gifted Dennis Jordan the victory. I'm sure he would have learnt from that. I'm sure he won't lose his concentration like he did last time out. And if he's trying to marshal a race like that again, we've seen him do it time and time again. So it's something that he can definitely do.
Yeah, obviously, time and time again, mastery of stuff comes with repetition, and the more you do something again, you're better at it. And Adam Maguire will be most certainly hoping to get better and better, getting past Gerrit de Vries. But looking further down the order, he's still got some very interesting battles going on. I mean, Fabrizio Golbi challenging Dennis Jordan here. Yannick Box still 11th. This is not the race he wanted thus far. Hardly the qualifying he wanted, and now he's struggling in the race.
Yeah, but he's only 5 seconds off the lead, so he's not in too much trouble at the moment. It'll become more apparent when we get through the pit stop window. Be interesting to see what he does. Does he pit earlier, or does he wait for other people to pit and then have a few laps, sort of almost doing qualifying laps at the end of the stint? So interesting. And the problem is that Jordan's not really got that much pace in front. He's under massive attack from Gobi and he's all over the straight trying to keep him behind.
Yeah, Golbi as well, putting the pressure on Jordan nicely here. This could really be a damper on Evolution's title hopes if Golbi gets through as well. And then a Bruzy car there. Well, I say a Bruzy, the quote a Bruzy unquote, because it's hardly in a Bruzy colours at the moment, is it? It's that red scheme that's replaced the blue from before. And obviously Golbi, regardless of the colour of his car, doing a fantastic job in P9.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the car looks good, and usually when cars look good, they drive good. Or that's what happens in my mind anyway. So, back up the front, Maguire's pretty close to Simracing again, but Simracing has got so good traction out of that corner. It's not giving Maguire any chance down the straight, and by the time Maguire gets there, Simracing just pretty much covered the corner off. So it looks like Maguire's lifting and braking quite early, so maybe conserving a bit of the tyre. It'll be interesting to see if he does the same or opposite to what Simracing does, pit or lap, which lap they're pitting, if that makes sense. It didn't make sense because I botched it.
Indeed. Yeah, I mean, obviously, all things considered, yeah. I'm just lost in the action at the moment, I'll be honest with you, and this is really turning out to be a bit of an interesting, because you never know who's going to do what. Not too much happening at the moment, but, you know, I just get the feeling it's all going to kick off soon, you know?
Yeah, exactly. To be honest, it's the type of race that we know probably will kick off towards the end of the race, because the gaps will come with the pit stops. So Maguire slides a little bit wide. So was that a little bit of understeer from the dirty air, or was that tyres going off? Don't know. Looking at the pit stop delta, obviously Colin got in touch and let us know. 20 seconds goes down to Vincent Goot in 25th out of the 26 runners at the moment. I think Federico Russo's already had a pit stop. So 20 seconds pretty much puts you dead last. So still not got enough of the gap. Only 10 laps in, obviously, and plenty of laps before the pit stop window. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting. As soon as the pit stops are triggered, that's when this race is going to spice itself up, because then we'll get a bit of a gap between the cars and the train, and then we'll be able to see people make a move.
Yeah, people at this point, you know, when the pit stops happens, that is usually the point, yeah, when people decide to go for it. Nobody has pitted yet, obviously. It's only lap 10 and 53, but, you know, there will be a time at some point at which people will make their stops. The question is when? I mean, I'm thinking maybe if they're aiming... I think, you know, there'll be definitely some stops in the sooner rather than the later, but... I mean, depends what strategy you're going for. If you're going for more stops, which might not work here, you'll want to stop sooner. I mean, possibly 20, 40 could be the stops. I don't know, as we head on to lap 11, but it is an interesting order thus far. That much is for certain. I mean, Duval doing nicely in third, Moose fourth, Kilstick, still a very good result for Red Archer on the cards here, but we can't help but ignore Bok, who's still down in 11th, and Dennis Jordan, who's down in 9th.
Yeah, Fabrizio Gobi's just got past Dennis Jordan and done the fastest lap in the process, so no doubt a bit of DRS and slipstreaming helping with that. Yeah, pit stop's probably another 8 or 9 laps yet until the first pit stop, but I wouldn't want to be the first person to pit with the way that the field is at the moment, so, you know, it might even be a little bit longer than that.
Yeah, at the moment, with the way the field is, obviously, you know, pitting now is probably not the best option. We know it's about a 20-second pit delta, so anyone who pits now is going to come up right at the back between the likes of Mir and Gut at the moment. So that is really going to be the worst of it. Federico Russo, speaking of the worst of it, is not having a good race at all. He's only a minute and 22 behind. He must have had damage. Yeah, I think he had to pit with damage. That's why he's gone down the order. But yeah, he's going to be on the verge of being lapped soon.
Yeah, and, you know, obviously that'll offset when other people make their pit stops, so he'll probably have to make another pit stop. I haven't said that, so yeah, difficult for Russo, but you never know. You never know. You might be able to pick up points. Obviously, points to the top 15. So you know, fingers crossed. You've got to keep in it, and you can't score if you don't win the raffle. So it's not all over yet for him.
Not all over yet, by no means of the amount. Could still be a decent result on the cards, that much is for sure. Let's hope that does happen for him, obviously, but for now at least, he's looking to just not be lapped as soon as he can not be lapped by, because as soon as you have to let lap traffic through, you lose even more time. And speaking of losing more time, Adam Maguire is not gaining any time. See any images here, they're staying quite close by.
Yeah, it's not really sort of opening up or panning out at all, really, is it? So yeah, this race is just lying a little bit dormant at the moment, but everyone's keeping it on the track and no one's making any mistakes, which is, you know, fair play. It's tough, you know, high pressure situations that these guys are going through, and to be able to be so consistent every lap is really special. So Simracing still only about half a second ahead of Maguire, and then Duval actually is still in DRS, so to move 6 to kill. So the first person that hasn't got DRS at the moment is Dennis Jordan down in 9th, and then between him and Jeff Fournier, who's down in 16th, all of them have got DRS as well. bit of a gap between Fournier and Mlynek, but obviously we said about Mlynek's engine issues. Robin Panzer, though, up to P18 from the back of the grid.
Yeah, Panzer obviously moving up the order, obviously while electing to start at the back and doing a very, very good job of getting up the order. And obviously if he continues, this will be on for points and possibly more. Panzer definitely will be one of those drivers we'll be watching to the end of the race, really, as he starts to move up the order. His teammate obviously leading, but Panzer really has had an interesting season, hasn't he? He's shown some good form, but he's had some misfortune as well.
Yeah, absolutely, plenty of misfortune. He had a few first lap incidents towards the start of the season, and really he hasn't been as bad as 100 points off his teammate suggests. So a bit unlucky. Don't get me wrong, he hasn't been on the same pace as Simracing, but he's had a pole position. So he's got plenty of pace. As Jordan going side by side with Fabrizio Gobi around turn 3. So Gobi must have had an issue somewhere because he was about a second ahead. Now Jordan's going to have to go a little bit defensive on Eros Mashuli, who's having a look up the inside. They're going to get close. Mashuli's still got the inside. Great racing from both of them to avoid contact there. Jordan gave him plenty of room down the inside and Mashuli gets through.
Indeed, Eros Mashuli threw into P. Oh, Jordan fighting back. Oh, look at this. He's going for it again around the outside. He's desperate to cling onto the position, but it's not going to work. Mashuli holds, and oh, Jordan down into P10. Not what he wanted. Now he goes wide. Now he's going to let his teammate through. So Bach finally free, but considering how he's not caught up to people in front of him so far this race, this could be bad. And Giuseppe Ragusa wants a bit of the action. He's not going to go for both of them in the same corner as he's going to go for one. I thought it would be a bit much to ask for both, but Jordan demoted, so oh, is he demoted on this contact? Ragusa just squeezes through though. Now Jordan under the from Rural who has to back off, and Zapala closes up. Oh, this is getting brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we said at the start of the race, making a mistake when the pack is this close. Look how defensive they go, and they're all over the track.
Steady, lads.
So close to Rural and contact. So it's like the end of the race, not the start of the race. Fantastic race, and then somehow they kept it all clean. Bad news for Dennis Jordan, losing plenty of points for Evolution, and of course not a big gap in the championship between Evolution and Adonis coming into this race, only about 28 points or so.
Here comes Ruot. Oh, he can't quite get the overspeed, but Ruot was challenging there. But yeah, this is the thing about those low quality engines for these Evolution guys. They're losing power, and that's the result.
Yes, hurting them. And as soon as you're offline defending one place, you're offline all the way around the circuit, the way that the corners flow into each other. And that's why Jordan lost so many places. Remember, he was pretty much side by side for P8 at one point, and then 6 corners later, he's down in P12. Not really through any fault of his own, he was just hung out to dry.
Maguire chasing hard though, he's got the gap down to 2/10 in amongst all this chaos. He is pushing on to get this P1, he wants it, because he knows every point he can get over the Airling Bach will put him back in championship contention. Bach was hoping to have this sealed up with 2 races to go. Now he might be pushed all the way to the end as Maguire tries the outside of that turn there, and then he flicks into the inside and he takes the lead. Adam Maguire, that was bold, but it paid off. It pays to be brave here in Sochi.
No, it's fantastic as well, because if you have a look on the replay, Simracing didn't give him all that much room on the inside.
Oh, Simracing wants him to see him now, but he's lost out. Duvall goes through. Duvall goes through into the Adonis 1-2.
Yeah, superb for Adonis, and that's massive. We were just saying about the championship battle. 28 points coming into this race between Adonis and Evolution, and that's going to be a massive swing.
Oh, here comes Simracing from the outside though. Oh, obviously Duvall has to leave space. But will he break lane? Oh, Gomos makes contact with Duvall trying to get across there. He's desperate to get this back.
Absolutely, and no doubt why. And this is the thing, again, he got sort of hung out to dry on the outside line and then lost momentum all the way through. That's why Duvall got through at the penultimate corner. So fantastic racing from the top 3. It's exactly what we expected. Look at Fabio 6-3, he's lurking right there as well. We know he's not shy of sending the move down the inside.
Yeah, 6 are behind, having to defend from Moose though, because Matthias Moose was really giving him what for throughout the preceding set of corners. Simracing seems to be dropping back from the Adonises now. Maybe pushed his tyres too hard in the attempt to get back, and it's a big shake on there. Sixter could be on for podium if he can catch up.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course Simracing has got a little bit of time markup as well from being offline, so hopefully that will clear itself up in the near future. But he has lost a lot of time to the 2 Adonises out front, and all of a sudden this race has turned right on its head.
You see, this is the thing. We were waiting for the flashpoint. We were waiting for it to kick off, and it has. And all of a sudden, it's just when the guys are due in for the pit stops as well. The irony of that.
Yeah, and it's very important that because we're not far away from pit stop window, probably 4 or 5 laps, and all of a sudden that gap, that 20-second gap,
Gobi
takes into P20.
Gobi jumps. He's the first to come in. So Fabrizio Gobi.
He has been for most of the season the first to blink as well, Fabrizio in the Britsy. So interesting to see where he comes out, what sort of lap times he can do, because we've seen a Britsy make plenty of positions up by pitting first. Whether that will be the same here with the way that DRS trains are going, not too
he's
sure.
gone for the hards. Now that's interesting. He's managed 15 on the softs. One presumes he could last at least 30, possibly 25 to 30 on the hards.
Oh, he'll make that easy.
He'll make that easy, possibly at the end of the race, you might think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that'll be fine because obviously there's a step in between as well, the medium, so it should be fine. But he's come up behind the green stripes car. I think that's Lucchini. So Lucchini's come out he's come out just behind Lucchini, so he's going to have a bit of pain for the first half of that. Probably get DRS to try and get through. And then he's got a bit of a gap then to Thomas Vack ahead.
Oh, that's an interesting start. I was not expecting to see that from Gobi. I mean, I would have thought he would have gone for the 2 stop, but obviously going for the 1. I mean, losing less time in the pits always helps, especially when the delta is this much. As we've seen, he's dropped out down to 23rd place. Anyone who pits now is going to come out around 21st.
Yeah, I mean, he's only 3 or 4 laps earlier than we expected, so Hard should easily get to the end of the race. It's not like a few of the races we've had already where we thought, is he going to manage? Be interesting to see, though, what the top guys done. We've seen Bock, especially, and De Vries last time out. I think they went on to mediums in Singapore to try and get to the end of the race, and it didn't really quite work out, whereas Jordan Simracing stayed on the hards and got it to the end of the race. So, yeah, interesting to see what these guys do now up front. He'll obviously keep an eye on what Gobi's doing behind. De Vries and Maguire now, well, all of the top 6 doing personal best. De Vries with fastest lap of the race, so they've lit the match.
Yep, the match has been lit, and we'll see how it burns down. I guess that is the only remaining thing left to see at this point, how it continues to go. And this could be a really, really good one at the moment to see how this pans out strategy-wise. I'm definitely intrigued now if I wasn't intrigued before. Yeah, we're expecting about 25 seconds with the tyre change as well. So if Maguire came in now, he'd come out about Gobi sort of position. And considering Gobi was P8 when he came in.
Yeah, and Gobi's done pretty much the same first sector time as the guys in front, a few tenths faster actually. So he's not lightning fast, but he's got enough speed to not lose out whilst he's in a bit of traffic. He's managed to get past Lucchini, and now he's got about a 4-second gap up to the back, so he can put some lap times in actually, and get it done. Obviously, what he hasn't got is DRS like the rest up the front have. But plenty of grip through the corners. I think someone else looked like they were coming in there.
Indeed, and and we got another pitter. It's Luke Maguire. He's come into the pits as well. So Maguire now making the call to change shoes, so to speak. Of course, tyres, of course, being just shoes for cars, aren't they? So, yeah, Luke Maguire going to come in, get a new set of boots on that, flag to flag, and he's gone for the hards too. He's copying Gobi. Was that the strategy then? 1 stop?
Yeah, easy to the end of the race with that. You would think anyway. So unless they really struggle on tyres towards the end, but that would probably be down to driving style, not the track or the tyre conditions. So, but again, look, he's in plenty of traffic ahead of Gobi. So Gobi hasn't made up that much time, and Maguire hasn't lost that much time. And it looks like Vack's got past Parker as well.
Yeah, Vack appears to have gotten past Tom Parker for position as well. Thomas Vack in the Cosmo YTF1, obviously not by far the best car in the grid, but he's doing a very good job with it. As we said, considering that car is statistically the worst on the grid, he's been doing some very good things with that car this season. I do hope he finds a seat for 2021.
Yeah, and hopefully that team will still be on the grid in 2021 as well. So fingers crossed.
As sort of hopeful manager of it, Matt Mattington has done a fantastic job managing it this season. We've been in discussions, and it does seem like I'm going to have to. Oh, blimey, we've got a David Fidek. I was talking about Tommy Vacuum. We've come across David Fidek with no front wing. What happened there, Ewan Gale? You have to go and find out for us, because I have no idea. I think we're going to replay on the stream, actually. Yeah, you see, he was coming through here. Fidek was coming through. He was chasing one of the Holland Racing Team cars, taking him to the corner. Oh, he hit the curb. Oh, he just got loose on the curb and lost his front wing.
Yeah, it's that green
David,
AstroTurf is so slippery, and especially in the traction zone, if you put the loud pedal down too early when you've got two wheels on that green AstroTurf, you're going for a spin. So bad news for David. The only good thing is it's come in the pit stop window, so he's only losing the time for actually changing the wing. He's not losing a full pit stop time.
Wow, dearie me, I have to say, that is hardly ideal for Fidek. He's had to come in now and change his wing. That's going to take a while. He's got the hard tyres on now, so he's going to be good until the end, but he's going to lose more time than he wanted. Oh, I think there's another crash as well. I hear more debris somewhere on the track. I can't see who it was.
It's Tom Parker.
It's Tom Parker.
Both wings off the car. Definitely suspension damage as well.
Tom, no!
It's down into turn 1, I think.
No, Tom, that's disastrous. What happened?
It's Gobi going around the outside into turn 1.
Into
turn 1
he dropped it!
Just lit it up. He lit it up on the exit.
He just dropped it by himself. Oh, Tom, no!
That's a shame. So obviously issues in Singapore, I think his engine seized, and more issues here in Sochi.
Oh, that is a disaster for him.
He's got big damage as well, suspension as well.
I think he might just park it.
Skew it. So
I think he might just park it if he can't get. I don't think suspension damage is usually fixable. I think he's gonna have to park that car.
Because he's crabbing all over the place. So if it is fixable, it's a long time in the pit lane. So let's see what he does. Like I said earlier, though, you never know.
Oh, well, that is desperately unfortunate. As Adam Maguire and Liam Duvall jostle over position. Duvall has just gone past for the lead, I believe. So they're playing the team here and defending against themselves at the moment as Yenny Simmons just goes back on the attack.
Yeah, again, really tasty up front, and Sixter's following them as well. So really close. Duvall did this as well. I'm sure it was Spa that Duvall was quick at the end of the stint as they come up to some lap traffic as well. So even Duvall might get some DRS with the green stripes of Russo ahead. So that will stop Maguire attacking straight back.
Yeah, this could be interesting. Maguire obviously going to fight hard and will continue to fight hard to try and hold this second place. Now, having seen what's happened in front of him, we'll know that Duvall is now the fifth for the race win. He's got to get past Maguire to get to Duvall. Fabio Sixter chasing as his Moose, as his Kilt though. Mashuli is the first to really be considerably further behind.
Yeah, look how big a gap Duvall's pulled out already. It's already up to 7 tenths. And
Parker
a bit more.
retires. Parker retires. I'm not surprised in the slightest. That car was destroyed.
Adam Maguire's struggling for tyres, I think, because Duvall's just gone. Duvall's absolutely gone 1.3 already, and I expect there you go into the pit lane. Adam Maguire struggling on tyres, and also Kilp as well following.
Yeah, Kilk obviously following, and one presumes that he must fight hard to get himself into a position. Oh, in fact, Maguire and Kilk obviously, as you see, both in, but yeah, this is going to be an interesting battle between these two going forward. Adam Maguire, what tyres will he go for? Will he go for the hards? He's gone for the mediums. Well, he's further in if he thinks he can make them last 83 laps. And Kilk does too.
Yeah, again, I can see that, 21 laps on the softs should be able to do 30 laps or thereabouts on the mediums, especially as the fuel loads come down. So, yeah, should be absolutely fine for both of them to get to the end of the race. Got a nice little bit of clean air as well by there. Adam Maguire's fed himself into. He's got a bit of a gap up to Maxim Leinek, who's ahead in 14th. Now the problem is though, is that Leinek and Panzer on the mediums, they won't pit for another few laps.
Yeah, Maxim Leinek and Panzer will be the ones here who will stand to gain the most from these pit stops, even though they haven't pitted yet. They will gain the most from overall increases in track position. They really have the chance now, because Panzer's on the softs at the moment. He won't have to pit for a while.
No, exactly, and it's the same for Ruot and Zapala, who are in the top 10. Agustin Canapino as well in 11th. So plenty of intrigue now as we get through the pit stop window, the pit stop phase. De Val's flying, fastest lap on the last lap into the 135s. Simracing only did 137 as he was battling with Maguire though, so that shows what the difference was as Moose comes into the pits this time. Top three stay out, De Val, Simracing and Sixter.
De Val, Simracing, Sixter, obviously the primary ones at the moment in the lead. Obviously still to pit, Moose and Mashuli do. So this is really it, lap 2021, sort of, we can expect that much to last the soft tyres for, I guess. So teams obviously now will be hoping to go to the end. Moose, obviously, yep, the Goose are in Jordan. This is really it, really. I think medium tyres is the all-round call.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, plenty of life in the mediums to get to the end of the race from here. So Buck stayed out, Jordan pitted to see what Jordan can do on his fresh tyres. Evolution needs a much better second half to the race than they've had so far.
Yeah, obviously must be an improvement, but yeah, I mean, Bark is obviously further up the order, having not pitted, but if he pits now, we're expecting him to come out further down the order too, because, well, not at the best of races, but he's in fourth now, which will keep him satisfied, albeit temporarily.
Yeah, and look on the outlap as well, Maguire and Kilk absolutely flying in Sector 2 and Sector 3, so they're going to make up plenty of time to the guys who haven't pitted so far. But again, you know, Moose behind Kilk now, so that's how much the undercuts worked here. As other people pit as well, they're finding the gap to get some laps in.
Yeah, getting some good laps in at the moment, really, I think the priority. But we shall see how this progresses as the leaders do pit. De Val chooses not to, Simracing chooses not to, Sixter does. Fabio Sixter in, not really surprised. Those tyres have now been going for 21 laps and Bock follows.
Yeah, so this is interesting. Sixter might be able to undercut Simracing, who's plenty close enough here. And look at the times. To be honest, the times are pretty close in Sector 1, but it's pretty much just one long big straight with two corners. When you start getting into the corners, Sector 2, Sector 3, there's a massive difference. Maguire 3/10 faster than De Val. 4, even longer, 6, 7/10 faster than Simracing in the middle sector. And then still 2/10 faster than Simracing in the final sector as Kilk does the fastest lap of the race. The guys out front are going to lose so much time here. Look at Sixter, he's going to be behind both Red Archers.
Yeah, Sixter is going to come out behind both the Red Archers of Moose and Kilk, so perhaps he waited a little bit too long to come out, but then again he was there and thereabouts. He's going to come behind them now, really. I think it was lap 19-20 that was the prime point.
But so is Simracing. So Simracing is going to go from leading this race to possibly 5th or 6th.
It's a distinct possibility, yeah. Simracing might lose out here big time.
If you think about how close Sixter was to the back of Simracing as he peeled into the pits, Simracing might be in trouble by it.
This could be a problem indeed. Let's see if it is ultimately, but we wait for him to come in. And we wait for the ultimate finding of this conundrum's answer. Making it sound up more dramatic than it is. He's just coming in for a pit stop, as is Liam de Val from the lead. So Stefan Brouwer will take the lead of the race then. For Holland Racing Team being on the soft tyres at the moment. Then Jamanda Zapala, then Augustin Canapino from Robin Panzer from, well, Maguire, the first of the drivers to really pit for soft, medium. So still, I'd say net race leader. But, you know, at the moment, he's getting held up by traffic.
Yeah, he's done a fastest first sector. He's not that far off in the middle sector. I don't think he'll trouble De Val, or he might do actually. Look, De Val, they're both going to come out behind Adam Maguire. Maguire's going to retake the lead, surely.
Maguire then, what will he do? He's going to go for Panzer is what he's going to do. He's going to go around the outside. He's not going to get it though. Robin Panzer doing a good enough job of defending, but then he gets the switchback, gets a better exit. They are side by side through turn 3, but Panzer's just too quick.
Yeah, and it's important for Simracing as well that Panzer stays ahead.
Contact! Oh, he's hit him! Oh, Adam, no, that's not what we want to be doing. Oh, there was just contact between the two. I don't know who was it. Was it Maguire that just did wide Panzer there, or?
I think Panzer might have chopped across him. I thought it was a little bit naughty, especially on an alternate strategy. You know, usually you give a little bit more space.
Panzer now loses out to the ball, but he gets a terrible exit out the corner, and he's being held up now. This is not what he wanted.
Tell you what, a big hit, really well held by Adam Maguire, because he could have easily been in a wall on the inside there. So lucky to stay ahead there. As De Val can stay in the right direction.
That could have been disastrous for him there. That is absolutely true. Oh, dearie me. Oof. Well, I'm very happy he got out of that one without too much drama, but could have been far worse for Adam Maguire there. He does not need this kind of drama when he's trying to get back into a title fight.
No, and I'm surprised that Panzar's battling everyone so hard, to be honest. He's only costing himself time. There's a bit more contact this time with right kill, so I'm surprised he's fighting so hard. He's losing himself time on the alternate strategy. We've got yellow flags out in the final corner. Who's that around?
Oh dear. Who's around in the final corner? Oh, Ragusa's lost
Canapino.
It's Canapino.
Who drops out the points with that as well.
Augustin's got it. Yeah, he's gone off big time now. He's down in P16 here as a result. Sixter, though, chasing Moose down. He's not able to do it. Moose just gets it something down to avoid going in the back of line. There was a serious fight going down from 5th through 10th. Really huge train here.
Yeah, so Canapino just lost it on the curb on the entry into the final corner and somehow did well to get off the racing line, because it's obviously a bit blind going into the final corner, and if he was on the racing line, then one of the leaders would have or someone would have hit him for sure. So decent driving there from Agustin to stay out of the way after making the error, but drops out the top 15.
All I have to say to that is ouch. Yeah, out the top 15. That is not what he wanted. And, well, work to do now, you must assume, as well, we're approaching the halfway point of the race, and Stefan Ruhl is leading for Holland Racing Team. We don't expect him to hold that lead, obviously. He's going to come out when he pits in about 19th, 20th position. But, you know, he started the race on the soft, and he's doing a very good leading the job at the moment of leading it. Johannes Apala in a very impressive second too.
Of course, both starting on the mediums will probably go softs at the end, probably in about 6 or 7 laps, and be fast towards the end. So probably the lower reaches of the points they'll get to. How far up they'll go, I'm not sure.
One must question that, of course. I don't think too much further personally. I think only a few more laps in those tyres for them. Probably won't be long before they come in.
No, and Zapala's all over the back of Ruot as well, so plenty of pace for Zapala at the moment. They're doing, 136s late, high 136s, which isn't bad for the stage of stint they're
Oh yeah,
on.
Canapino out. Canapino's just retired. I've just seen it. He is gone. He has decided, yep, too much damage. I'm out.
Such a shame that. So, yeah, he was doing well, sort of. He was actually battling for 10th at one point, so shame. Hasn't really been the season he wanted since he's come back in with Ghost Speed, but fingers crossed, still a few races left. He can put some of those wrongs right.
Hopefully he can, yes, and be very interesting to see if he can. But at the moment, it's not looking like he's out of the back. Canapino's not the reason not to do that, but yeah. Yeah, this has been a really good race so far. Bot obviously still further behind, having now pitted in P14, but obviously with Ruel and Zapala yet to pit, he will gain a couple of places, you imagine. Yannick Bot has not had the race he wanted though.
No, he hasn't, and he hasn't got enough speed to do anything about anything. Obviously, he's managed to get ahead of Dennis Jordan through the pit stop phase, so I don't know whether Jordan had traffic when he came out of the pits, but Box managed to jump ahead of Jordan. But yeah, interestingly, so Moose has got a bit of a gap to Simoncic because Panzar's in between them, so that's good wingman from the second burst. Maguire managed to jump Sixter, who at one point looked as if he was going to get on the podium with his speed, so that didn't work out for him at all well. And as badly as Buck is doing, always said that he's doing, he's actually only 3 places off Sixter. So yeah, very interesting. Obviously, Mashuli in front of him though has some affiliation to Adonis, who he's fighting in the championship. So he won't be that easy to get through.
Yeah, I mean, Adonis stand to gain a lot from all of this. Ruel has actually lost the lead to Zapala in amongst all this as well. Germano Zapala now leads for Street Fighter. Yes, go on, Germano. But yeah, Adonis really the ones who are standing to gain the most here from P3 and P4 to become first and second, obviously. They're going to pretty much reverse the damage done by Maguire not turning up last round.
No, absolutely. And just on Zapala and Ruot as well, like I said, they're lapping fine and they're only 1.2 seconds off the absolute best time. So, you know, they're not actually doing that badly. They're only 0.2 off their personal bests as well. So consistency key for those two, and they'll reap the rewards at the end of the race. But yeah, like you said, Maguire really pulling back the damage done by missing out last time. Of course, it was his birthday the same day as Singapore. Don't know whether that had much to do with it. It's as good a reason as any to miss a race. But yeah, good for Adonis. 1-2 control. They got a nice gap to Kilk as well now. So should be able to, and I say should without trying to jinx it, coast to the end of the race.
Possibly. We'll have to see if he can in fact do that, but ultimately that time will tell on that front. As 51% of the race is complete, there is 49% to go. Jemana Zapala holding nicely from Ruel, but Maguire is only 3 seconds behind. So, you know, they're going to lose out big time to Maguire, and they're going to drop out, go back down to 17th or 18th, you imagine, because Ragus is a bit far behind now. But yeah, Maguire definitely on course for the win here from De Vries at the moment, barring any disasters.
So what's happened to Matthias Moos then? He cannot get past Robin Panzar, and all of a sudden he's 4 seconds down, 5 seconds down on Simracing. So terrible luck for Matthias Moos. He can't get through the second burst. And is that set up? Is that stopping him from getting through? You know, is the burst, as the burst goes wide actually, to say that Moos will get through. So he's got a lot of work to do to get back up, as Maguire tries to get through as well.
It's not possible. It's not impossible that, you know, he's just having a bit of trouble here, but who knows? We'll have to see if that turns out to be the case.
Look at Sixter as well. Maguire tried to make a move on Panzar as Panzar rejoined the track.
Sixter, look at Maguire, in fact. Luke Maguire is having a right go here. He is really pushing hard now. And Moose obviously threw on Panzar eventually, but he's lost a lot of time in the process. Work to do to catch Simracing now for Moose, for Panzar now, defending from Sixter, Maguire, and potentially Gobi.
Yeah, Gobi's coming back in. It was Sixter making the move on Maguire. Like I said, Maguire was trying to make a move on Panzar as he rejoined the track and got out of shape, and it allowed Sixter through. So hard luck for Luke Maguire there, but still in with a good shout of points, still in top 10, but Gobi starting to chase down. Of course, Gobi and Maguire on the same hard tyre compounds, but Maguire's got fresher tyres.
Yeah, Maguire with the fresher tyres really has the advantage. Sixter and Panzar ahead. Not going to have as much of an advantage because, you know, their tyres are rolled out. They'll be starting to wear down. That's going to be a problem for them. But Maguire gets rid quickly there. Oi, caramba, that is not what he wanted. In fact, Sixter goes round. He spins. Oh, Fabio, no, if it's not internet issues, it's spinning the car. He's trying to rally Spencer, and if he's not going to have space, he's going to knock the front wing off. He has to reverse more. The track's clear enough for him to do it, but he gets it spun. Oh, Fabio. Oh, that's terribly unfortunate.
Look how much time he's lost. He's lost 10 seconds at least, even more. So terrible luck for Fabio Sixter. And way out the points at the moment as well. Obviously, some people yet to pit, but that will ruin his tyre life as well as the tyres scrub across the surface of the track as he's spinning. And it's all good news for Brito Gobi, though.
Oh, caramba, yeah. Gobi, all good news. He stands to gain, obviously, but yeah, this is going to be an interesting one for sure.
Ruel pits.
Ruel in, so there you go. Eventually, his tyres cry enough. He comes in. He's going to lose some positions, but who knows? This is not good for Sixter, but yeah, Ruel's in, gets on the softs. That will probably be him till the end of the race now.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at Zapala's doing the same lap times as the guys who are net leading. So fantastic times from Zapala, who's surely going to profit from that at the end of the race. And you know, it puts them in the best position. Ruel and Panzar both going onto the soft tyres, and Ruel's going to come out easily in 15th. It's going to get very, very racy at the end of this race.
Yeah, this is going to be good. This is going to be a good one, I think. Oh, hang on a second, ladies and gentlemen. This is just getting started here. Oh, well, Gerrit de Vries leading, obviously, from Maguire, from De Vries. But, you know, Maguire, the net race leader at the moment. Kilk, Simracing, Moose all in there as well. Moose is doing a decent job of catching up to Simracing, actually. Only 5 seconds in at the moment.
Yeah, it's 5 seconds. That's come down about a second, but obviously not as close as he wanted to be after the pit stop phase. So, doing personal best though, and actually he was a 10th off Simracing on the last lap, so it's not quite fast enough to reel him in at the moment. Two Adonis has still got plenty of gap up front, but obviously Zapala is ahead, not quite in DRS range yet, and Kilk's still 1.5 down as a pile of pits.
Yeah, Zapala still to stop very well there. I mean, not anymore, he isn't. Yep, Zapala in now. And there you go, Adam Maguire retakes the lead of the race. So there you go. Will he be able to hold it this time, though? Duval obviously behind from Kilk in P3. My pick for the win is P3. Whoop, go right. I'm a bit happy there, but no, Gianni Simracing spoils the party and goes through. Oh, that was a very good run from Simracing, so give him credit. Well, that was a fantastic run to get through there.
Well, I don't want to trump you, but my pick for the win is P1. So, but yes, yours was a little bit more left field, and it would be great to see if Kilk can do it. But obviously, Simracing through, and he'll try and catch up. Duvalis. Zapala comes out in P12. Plenty of space to Stefan Ruwalt, who obviously pitted a lap earlier as well, and not too far behind the guys in front, Fournier, Jordan, Bock.
Yeah, Fournier, Jordan, Bock as well. You know, these guys were further down the order to start with, and Bock is now 9th. He has recovered nicely, it must be said. He's doing a good job here.
Absolutely, and you know, sometimes you've got to take the bad with the good, and you know, damage limitation points is still better than a DNF. So don't do anything drastic. There's no need to lunge if you can't get through. Just pick up the points, move on, and take your medicine.
Indeed, one must think that this may be, you know, Bock obviously is going to suffer in the championship standings for this, but he's making a good job of getting back up. But obviously Maguire, the big winner at the moment, really doing a good job. Six, yep, Sixter's out because of that spin I've just seen. Oh, Fabio, oh no. I mean, if it's not one thing with him, it's another, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You know, we used to see it in Formula One. Obviously, people like Mark Webber, you know, it was always bad luck, and it seems to be the same for Fabio. It's terrible luck because, like you said, he's got sublime speed. But then, having said that, you know, the way that pit stops worked out today didn't help him at all. He lost a bit of time and got stuck behind a slower car. So, you know, maybe he just got a bit frustrated, got too early on the loud pedal. That's why he went round. All of these things add up, and you know, temperament can hurt you as much as actual, you know, physical crashes on track.
Yeah, it can do. 60% of the race gone then, pretty much, and it's Maguire and Deval and Simracing from Kilk from Moosey, top 5, looking like an interesting top 5 at the moment. And Gobi and Maguire 6th and 7th, obviously, from Shirley, from Bock, from Jordan. And this race may not be a long race, but it certainly feels like it's been longer than it has.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And to be honest, part of that is because the DRS trains at the start, you know, it's very dormant. This race sort of came alive around the pit stop window. So if Simracing can latch on to the back of the Adonises, then we might have a bit of a race for the lead at the end. But otherwise, I think we're sort of looking midfield, sort of 6th, 7th, 8th is going to be where the reaction is, because Adonis have just controlled this beautifully since getting into the lead.
Yeah, I mean, Adonis really just have had complete control over the leads here. They've just gone absolutely, well, they've gone mental with it. They've just gone 1st and 2nd, yep, thank you very much, and rode off into the sunset. Yanni Simracing has not been able to catch up. Kilk has struggled, and Moose is obviously in P5 at the moment, 5 seconds down on the likes of Kilk. So right now, at least, it does seem like it's going to be a 1-2 for Adonis, but you never know.
Yeah, what did we say at the start of the pit stop window as well, when Fabrizio Gobi was the first to come in? He makes plenty of positions with his pit stop strategies. He's up to 6th now and faster than Matthias Moose on the lap previous. So plenty of speed for Fabrizio, and obviously he'll have a little bit more durability. Only about 5 laps between the 2 pit stops, but yeah, plenty of durability on his tyres. He'll be able to push it a little bit harder, and you know, that might help him as he's trying to catch up to Matthias Moose.
Yeah, right now, obviously, Gobi is going to be trying to push for Moose as well. Moose is going to be pushing for Kilk. And Kilk is not very far off Simracing, actually. Look at these here. These are quite close at the moment. Kilk may be in 4th, but he's catching him back up again.
He is, and he's not far off Simracing, as you said. And Simracing hasn't really had enough pace to start reeling the guys in front in. 2.2 seconds the gap to Leon Duval, only 0.2 faster on the last lap, and he's a little bit more. Still plenty of time left in this race, so 20 laps after this one. So it doesn't need to be drastic, but you feel that if he's closing in, he's using his tyres up, and then he needs the tyres to be able to overtake at the end of the race as well. So yeah, he might need to start thinking about a few quali laps just to get into the DRS zone and then sort of settle a little bit, give your tyres a bit of a rest, and then go again at the end.
Yeah, really got to try and, really knuckle down at this point in the race to try and make up the gaps and make up for lost time, so to speak. And one wonders, really, at this point, if now is the time to do it, because obviously 20 laps to go. If you're on fresh tyres, you'd find it very easy. But, yeah, obviously on longer lasting tyres, if you're trying to one-stop, perhaps not. But Jimon is a parler. If anybody has a chance, he's really putting the hammer down now, and he's on fresh softs.
Yeah, I was just about to go on the soft tyre watch. 144.4, fastest lap of the race by some distance. First man into the 134 was actually already past Jeffrey Fournier for 11th and right on the back of Dennis Jordan, Yannick Bock and co. So plenty of overtaking to be done for Zapala, and you'd imagine Stefan Ruolt as well. Robin Panzer's not going to be far off either. He's got 5 seconds to Ragusa, but then he's right in that battle.
Yeah, Zapala really is impressed since he's got into that Street Fighter car. I mean, right now, he is obviously pushing down and knuckling down on the likes of Dennis Jordan and Yannick Buck, but even when he was in the Cosmo YT F1, he was doing quite well. Now he's really got his chance here with Street Fighter.
No, absolutely. He's been one of the sort of the unsung heroes of this championship so far. He's had pace wherever he's been, and some fantastic. To be honest, actually, he hasn't got as many points as he should because of a brake failure in Hungary. He had, I think he might have had one in Bahrain as well. Plenty of bad luck to go with the good as well. So he's really impressed, and the way that this is going with the speed he's got on the soft tyres, he could easily be 8th or 7th in this race come the end of the race.
Yeah, 8 or 7 at the end of the race, all things considered, that would be a fantastic result. And was Zapala really pushing hard now. Jordan obviously there, Brock there, Mashirley there, Maguire there, all for the taking for the German. Let's see if we can do it.
Yeah, so it is starting to heat up a little bit, isn't it? Down in the lower regions of the top 10, and obviously the different tyre strategies help. I think Mashirley's got past Luke Maguire actually for P7, so and Maguire's retaking it, so I think they're pretty much side by side. And Zapala's right on the back as well.
Yeah, Zapala really pushing, well, as we know, but this train looking to be very interesting. Deval Maguire holding position nicely in first and second at the moment, but it's really this 7th through 11th train that is really the most interesting at the moment. I mean, there's cars dicing everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what happened is I think Mashirley made a move around the outside at turn 3 and then couldn't hold it into turn 4. That's when Maguire managed to get back through. But he's looking a bit squiggly out on the AstroTurf, and that's not going to help you if you're trying to defend. Sort of being able to keep enough of a gap to make sure he's not under pressure into turn 12.
Yeah, I've really got to try and watch himself here through. And look, Jordan lining himself up. You got to feel for something, but trying to defend from Zapala too. He does not have a good job of it right now. When is Germano going to? Oh, he's not going to strike now. But he's going to really put the pressure on. Look where he's going with that car.
He's got so much more speed on those soft tyres, and obviously the Evolutions have been slow all day long. So double whammy for Evolution, and they need all the points they can get for the championship battle when they've got their main rivals first and second to Parla. Four-wheel drifting into the final corner. That's not going to do your tyres any good, Jabane.
How are they going to help? I mean, sliding doesn't help, does it?
Here we go. So they're all going defensive, and Zapala's going to have to look back.
Oh, he would have had to break really late.
We'll get the switch back on the softer tyres. Let's see what he can do into turn 4. He's going to try and set it up through turn 3. Not close enough, I don't think. And he'll have to settle for turn 12 again, I think.
Yeah, he'll have to settle for T12, I think, ultimately. Well, he's going to have to try and find a way through if he wants to get through. Otherwise, he shall be stuck behind, and that shall not be good for him.
No, absolutely. And of course, the longer he's sat behind Jordan, and the more he's ruining his tyres by the time he gets to Bach and Mashiri and Maguire. And that easy 20-lap window for getting your tyres through is going to diminish. So, priority is it gets through this group ASAP.
Yeah, really got to go for it now. Get through this group, otherwise he's going to be in trouble. And, well, speaking of trouble, Yanni Simracing has been put under pressure by Raikkonen here. They didn't get a very good exit from that last turn.
No, he didn't. And, this track, the way that this track works with your overtaking opportunities, traction is the critical factor, really. So you really have to make sure that you're sensible and you're disciplined on the throttle pedal to make sure that you keep a position when there's people attacking you. Through the final corner here, you'll see Zapala will get much better traction on his soft tyres. And I'll put him right close to Jordan. I think he's actually closer than he was on the last lap, so let's see what he can do.
Well, Zapala's chances now, if ever it is, he's going to swing to the outside, just like he did before. Jordan will be wise to his tactics, just like he was before. But he gets better braking. Oh, he drops the back into turn 2 there. That's not going to help his cause. But he's gotten it somehow, but he has to give it back because he took track limits, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, and he got it all switched up. I think locked the rear brakes. He did well to keep it in a straight line, actually, because he was so late on the brakes. What didn't help him is that Bock knew exactly what was happening behind him, gave the slipstream to his teammate down the inside the defensive line. Zapala just couldn't get it slowed down, did well to keep it straight, but obviously over the orange curbs at turn 2 and had to cede the position back.
Yeah, Zapala, obviously, we almost had him. He almost had him. He didn't have him, but he almost had him. You know, he can say that much, but really needs to get a shift on with just 30% of the race to go. Well, Simitic and Kell still locked in a fight as well. De Vries actually closing in on Maguire.
He has closed in on Maguire, and like we said at the start, in the first stint, De Vries has been quick towards the end of the stint, so if that's the case, he could be on for a decent result there. Will they keep them this way round for the championship? Obviously, Maguire aiming to deplete Yannick Bock's championship lead, or is it all fair game and De Vries can go and win?
Well, we'll see. De Vries, obviously, we'll see if he does get the chance to race against Maguire. I think at the moment, though, I mean, I imagine Adonis is the team that would let their drivers race, but in the circumstances at least. But De Vries might just back it off personally. I don't know. He doesn't necessarily need to win this race. Adam's the one fighting for the championship, but
with Bock so far down as well, you've got to take advantage, surely.
With Bock's P9. He's got to take advantage of this.
And Zapala's all over the back of him as well. Zapala's got through on Jordan finally. So Bock's going to probably be P10. You've still got Ruwalt fighting through as well. So I don't know how close Ruwalt's going to be at the end of the race. He's not that far behind, but we've still got 16 laps to go, or 15 and a half. So Bock could end up 11th here.
Yeah, Yannick Bock could end up P11 here. He's P9. He could, if he's not careful, lose position to Zapala. And then Jordan, obviously, if he makes a mistake, might go through his own teammates. So, yeah, this is going to be a difficult one for Yannick Bock if he's not careful.
No, absolutely. And this is what we were saying about damage limitation earlier. There's no point defending really heavily and putting yourself out the race. 11th will still be better than 0 points. So Bock knows that. It's part of the reason why he's won the championship is that he's consistent and he keeps his car out of trouble. It wouldn't be the first race this season that he's had a few issues, but he's made sure that he brings back some points and gets the job done in the end.
Yeah, I mean, Zapala obviously as well, has been wanting to watch all season, and he's starting to really haul the results in, it seems, to Street Fighter. He's found something there. Obviously, it's a much better car than the car he was driving. But Bock now under threat from the German once again. Here comes Zapala. What's he going to do this time? Will he go inside out? What's he going to do? He's got to fling it to the inside. He is going to get the inside line this time. He'll have to outbrake. He does outbrake, and he gets the better line. He has to hold it to the exit, though. We know that Bock could get the switch back if he's not careful, but it doesn't look like he's going to. I think he's made it stick.
Yeah, absolutely. Textbook stuff from Zapala, and obviously with the fresher tyres and softer tyres, he'll have more grip through the long left-hander at turn 3. So, yeah, like I said, absolutely textbook from Jamano. Got the inside, got it stopped this time, and managed to take a decent enough line actually to stop Bock from having to go back. So, yeah, good stuff from the SRS driver. Yeah,
great stuff indeed. Now we can move forward as well because he's in sight, as is Maguire. Potential top 7 for Zapala on here.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's got the pace for it as well. So it wouldn't be a flick, do you know what I mean? So great strategy, and like we said, all of this is because he managed to keep such a good, consistent pace on his first stint on the mediums, kept out of trouble, and was lapping pretty much the same lap time within 2/10 every single lap. Fantastic job so far.
Yeah, he's doing a good job so far. I mean, definitely going for it, and very consistent driver. Consistency pays. That's David Friday. He won 2 Superleague championships out of being consistent.
Yeah, absolutely. In the end, you can have as much pace as you want in the world if you only pick up points twice a season.
Wow. Okay. Liam Duval into the lead. I've just seen the swap places. Now, was that a battle between the two cars, or did Duvall let him through? Or did it get let through, rather, by Maguire when he had the draft? He had the draft. We're seeing the replay here. He had the draft.
Close enough. It was
It was
close
close
enough.
enough, and it just let him go.
I'm just
So
wondering.
obviously,
Like we saw at Spa, has Maguire got any damage from the collision he had earlier with Robin Panzer?
it didn't look that big a crash, to be honest. I don't think if there's any damage that's affecting him that much. We'll have to ask him after the race, possibly. But in the moment, Liam Duvall, the Brickball, as we like to call him, is breaking in himself, putting down the foundations for a win.
I was going to say, it might not be heavy damage, but if it's enough to make the car a little bit more nervous in the corner or something, and he's not getting the confidence, obviously, you need the confidence to chuck the car in as much as these guys do with the grip that these cars have got. So if he hasn't got the confidence to do that, if he has got an issue from earlier on, then that might affect him.
We'll see if it does, but right now at least Duvall is holding his own out there in P1. We'll see if he gets the win. I'll go and see if I can find some statistics for us to see what this would mean for Liam Duvall. I think it would mean a fair bit personally, obviously getting a Super League win. I mean, he came so close in Melbourne 2018. I remember that when he was fighting with Jeffrey Fournier for the win and he only just lost out.
Absolutely, and you, as well as I know, Liam absolutely loves his racing. He won race after race after race. I think he was unbeaten before he left Superleague last season to join Adonis. So, yeah, proper racer, and I'm sure if he does win this, he'll enjoy every single moment. As the parlour goes down the inside, easy move on the shooter.
Yes!
Oh,
yes, Germano. Nicely played. Oh, he's loving this, isn't he? He is loving this.
He's using the soft tyres perfectly.
3/4 of the race gone, and he's in P8 on soft tyres. Oh, yeah. You love to see it.
Absolutely, and Gobi's only 4 seconds ahead of Maguire, so plenty of time left in this race. Still 13 laps or 12.5 laps from here for Germano Zapata. So can he bridge that gap to Gobi if he can get past Luke Maguire?
Yeah, indeed, that could be an interesting one for sure. Liam Duvall at the front of the race, though. I will tell you this: with 12, 13 laps to go, he has never won in Super League. The closest he got was that second at Melbourne 2018. He's had 2 podiums this season, but he's never taken victory. Will today be the day?
Plenty of time left for that to change. We don't know what Simracing is going to do. He's only 1.6 down on Maguire now. I don't know what's happened to Adam Maguire. He's lost so much pace.
He's short shifting.
He's already 7-8 tenths down off his teammate as well, so he's not sticking with him. So Simracing might get P2 here.
Yeah, Simracing may be on for P2 here. I mean, Yerny is pushing hard right behind the 2. He's really giving it up to the rev line as well. He's really pushing that engine as hard as it will go. And I saw Duvall was short shifting down the straight. Now, I don't know why that is. Yeah, but he's shifting at 10.5. He must be trying to save fuel or engine or something. Something is awry in that Adonis. As Adam Maguire behind, he's using much more of the rev band.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So is that going to play?
I think you know what it is. I think he's just trying to help him keep him in the DRS.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And to be honest, I'm surprised they, if that's the strategy, I'm surprised they don't switch it back around and use Liam as a heavy defensive rear gunner.
But here's the thing, Yerny. Yeah, you're right. Yerny's clawing them in here. This could backfire.
Yeah, because what you don't want is Maguire to go defensive and they collide, because that ruins the gain that they were going to make. So Maguire's right back up to Duvall. So this is interesting to see what Adonis do. Does Maguire go back through down the main straight?
I think they've got to put him ahead right now to keep Simracing, defended. I mean, Liam seems like the faster driver at the moment, but it could be an interesting one for sure. I mean, what's going to happen? If they're close enough to mount an overtake, I'm watching Duvall. He's short shifting like mad. Maguire is making much more use of the rev band, and Simracing is within DRS range to Maguire.
Yeah, and this is the thing, you've got to think of the worst case scenario. There's no point thinking about the best case scenario, the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, if there's contact between Simracing and Maguire, is that Bock gets let off the hook with his, he's down in 10th at the moment. But if Duvall and Simracing make contact, no disrespect to Duvall at all, but that only helps Maguire in the championship. worst case scenario, of course, I'm not saying they want to try and have contact, obviously, but yeah, if something happens here, then they've really put themselves in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah, really is putting himself in a bit of a pickle if this does backfire. I mean, Adam's tyres, he seems to be harder on the tyres as David Yunfer is one observer, and I have noticed that. But Duvall really doing his job at the moment, keeping ahead. But Simitic, this could be an interesting one here. What is going to happen here? I mean, I do not know why Menno Carlton has not put Adam Maguire ahead, considering the championship permutations at the moment. Bok is down in 10th.
The only thing I would say, though, is that since they've got back up to or close to each other within half a second, Simracing hasn't really closed in that much. So it seems that whatever they're trying at the moment is working in terms of keeping Simracing off the tail of Maguire. At one point, it didn't look like Maguire was going to get absolutely swamped because he'd lost so much time.
Yeah, indeed. This is really... I know we keep saying, oh, it's going to spice up by the end of the race, but it really is spicing up now because we don't know what's going to happen.
Well, exactly. You know, this is all of a sudden it's gone from Adonis absolutely breezing to the victory like it was 10 laps ago to any one of the top three could win now. And obviously Kilk isn't that far behind to pick up the pieces if it does all go wrong.
I mean, Kilk, I said at the start, Kilk could be on with a chance, but if it does all go wrong, he could be on for P2 here, potentially. Who knows?
Well, exactly, you know, and again, Moose, he's not that far behind. Realistically, you know, we saw how much time that Sixter lost with a spin. He lost about 15 seconds, so Moose only 10 seconds off the lead. If something does happen, he'll go into the top four as well.
Yeah, I mean, hold on to something, I think, because this is going to spice up in the last 10 laps of this race. Yanni Simitic, a second away from the race lead. Adam Maguire stuck behind his teammate, who was short shifting like a madman. 10,500 of 12 revs. That is a huge amount to not use. Maybe he's just trying to keep the torque up. I don't know, but Maguire is really pushing hard right now. He's about 12 or 13k faster than his teammate on the straight, and Yanni Simic has got DRS on both of them.
He has, and the only thing that's going to help Simic here is the fact that Maguire, the only thing that's going to help Maguire here is that you've got the RS to the Devar, because that should stop Simic from mounting any sort of a challenge down the straight. But yeah, they got enough pace and they're still doing 135s, but Simic did 134 on the last lap. So the front two just about doing enough, controlling the race now. And yeah, they're not really under attack, even though Simic has closed up so much.
Yeah, Simitic has closed up considerably here. But Maguire is obviously keeping pace with Duvall on the straights at least, which is helping him pull the gap away. This is either very clever or it's going to end in tears. One of the two. I don't know which one though, that's the thing.
Yeah, what's interesting is that going into the corners, Maguire's right on the back of Duvall, but obviously because he's having to brake a little bit heavier and make sure he doesn't run into his teammate, he's actually losing a bit of time mid-corner. He's got a lower minimum speed in the corner, and yeah, that might be an issue. Is bringing Simracing back into play, but then obviously he's got more of a gap to get with the DRS and to get his top speed up in the straights. Kilk is not falling back either.
Yeah, Kilk isn't falling back, so Simitic has got to keep pushing on, otherwise he's going to be in trouble. And Maguire has obviously got problems with Duvall and Simitic ahead and behind. Obviously Liam leading the race when he, would be doing better than leader, and Simitic possibly trying to catch up. There's 6 tenths in it now. You see what it is by the end of the lap. There's only half a second now. He's really it's piecemeal stuff. He's doing chip damage to that lead, but it's still some damage.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking down the pack of also Zapala's up into 7th ahead of Maguire, and he's only 40 seconds off Gobi. He'll have plenty of speed as well to try and catch up. He's already half a second faster on the last lap, so that's going to be close for P6 at the end. As Simic almost loses it into the final corner, big swap one, and he's got all of that time to make back up again.
Yeah, Simitic has got time to, really make back up. Yeah, I mean, 7 tenths it is at the start finish, just alone. He's going to have to push hard now, and Kilt's going to be lapping this up. But, this might work for the Adonis lads. This might just work out.
So Simic had a massive slide at the final corner. So is he starting to struggle for tyres already, or was he just getting a bit eager, a bit frustrated because he can't get any closer than he is? And obviously, if he's starting to get frustrated, we saw what happened to Sixter when he was stuck behind someone earlier. He leathered it into the wall, and that's only going to be music to Kilt's ears.
Yeah, Wright's obviously going to be lapping this up, and Yerny obviously having tyre problems would be quite dramatic. But he's got the gap back down to 7/10 again. Doing a fairly good job to keep that gap going. And, well, De Vries is obviously just sitting out here at the front at the moment, just biding his time, minding his own thing. It's Maguire really who's going to be the most nervous because he has the most to gain.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like we were saying earlier, no disrespect to Liam, but you know, if he gets involved in some shenanigans, it's not really going to affect him too much. Obviously, he wants to get his first win in the series, but in terms of championship, nothing really going for him. Simracing again, still in the running. He's a bit further back than Albans, but still in the running, so he needs to pick up points as well. Second and third, really, in a mammoth battle. They don't want to lose any ground to Yannick Bock.
Yeah, they don't want to lose any ground whatsoever. And you know, at the moment, I think it's 20 points would be the gap for this race alone between Bock and De Vries. That would take the overall gap down to just 17 and put Maguire right back in contention with some more good results. But, you know, as it stands, he's only going to get 18 points. You know, that gap is only going to be, that's still going to be a race gap.
Yeah, exactly. It's still a big gap. So, you know, they cannot do anything stupid here, and really these two might have to think about just settling for what they've got at the moment. I know they won't want to, but again, don't do anything stupid, pick up the points and move on. You don't know whether Bock's going to struggle again next week, so there's no point going for the absolute jugular and messing up, basically. Zapala, by the way, still faster than Fabrizio Gobi. Only 2/10 on that lap, though, so nothing spectacular. Still 4 seconds down, running out of time.
You see, here's the thing, though. If De Vries would have let Maguire do, De Vries would not be safe to Simracing, and he would have to get into a real dogfight with Simracing, and I don't think he wants that. Therein lies the other side of the coin, so to speak. So maybe by holding them where they are, they're keeping the status quo as it is, and they're not risking anything.
No, exactly. There's no point. There's no point swapping with Simracing that close now. Absolutely no point in doing that. You'll just get yourself into more trouble. So, yeah, if Maguire wins, it'll have to be on his own merit with the move. I can't see them swapping now. I think if they would have swapped, they would have done it earlier.
Yeah, you got to think the swap would have come sooner. Ultimately, 47 laps complete. 6 to go then, and De Vries still leading from Maguire, still leading from Simracing. He's your top 3. Further down the order, there are still some scraps going on here and there for errant positions. I think the last points position is up for grabs at the moment between Panzer and Ragusa. Ragusa has it, going for 2 points rather than 1. They're having a bit of a scrap at the moment. But other than that, the cars are nicely spaced out. David Fider comes into the pits, presumably to push for fastest lap.
Yeah, possibly Mlinek in 16th as well. He's had a so-so race. He hasn't made up much ground, really. But if he can get a point out of this, I think he'll be happy. Obviously, you were saying he had a pretty low engine percentage to start the race with. So, yeah, like I said, if he can get a point out of this, I think he'll be fairly happy. He's starting to close in on Giuseppe Ragusa.
Yeah, starting to close in on Ragusa, going to try and prevent him from getting a point, get a point for himself, and for G Sports, that would always be a welcome thing. Moose is P5 at the moment, obviously Matthias Moose and right, Kilk still a very impressive P4. I predict, and obviously it hasn't quite come to that yet, but, you know, definitely race winner for the future, I think. He has won in Superleague before.
He's done a great job. We haven't really seen everything he can do, but like we said, the two Red Archers really have sort of cost themselves in qualifying more often than not this season. The race pace has been pretty strong. I think they're showing that today with 4th and 5th, and quite an easy 4th and 5th at the moment as well. They haven't really been under any pressure. Obviously, Moose lost a load of time around the pit stop stages, but yeah, good effort from both of them, Kilk especially.
If I had to ask you to pick a drive of the day, then it was just tick over 90% race distance. I know there's still 5 laps to go, but if you had to pick anyone, who would it be?
Solana Zapala, I think he's been absolutely outstanding. His pace has been great all the way through. Fingers crossed he can keep it on the track. He's still closing in, actually. He started to close in a little bit more than Fabrizio Gobi. 1.2 on the last lap, so I don't know whether Gobi's had some tyre issues, but 2.3 now gap. And if he can get 6th out of this race, I think it'd be absolutely superb for him. He started 11th and then made the alternate strategy work perfectly.
That would not be a bad call, you know. I do not think that would be a bad call in the slightest to pick Solana Zapala as your driver of the day. He has had a phenomenal race, hasn't he? I mean, all things considered. I mean, he has had a phenomenal race for Street Fighter, and all seems to have come good for him. And you know what? I think I find myself agreeing with you. I would pick him as well. I
Good.
genuinely would.
It's the first time we've ever agreed on something.
I think it is. That's a bombshell right there, isn't it? Wow. No, I mean, genuinely though, I think he's had a P7 in that Cosmo car as well, but it was at the start of the season. The cars are a lot more spaced out now, and he's back on form.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said earlier, he's had pace all season in both cars. But through one reason, well, for one reason or another, we got there eventually. He hasn't picked up the results that he probably deserves. So yeah, good effort from Jamalo today, and you can almost see Gobi actually in front of him. So 4 laps left. Will he be able to get the job done?
We'll see if he can. We'll see if he can. It would not surprise me if he did, but we shall see if it comes to be that he does in fact gain that position and get himself into the top 6, which I believe would be his best ever Super League finish.
Yeah,
Matching it right now with the 7th, but
yeah, absolutely, and it would be a just reward. Interestingly, up at the front, Simracing looks closer to Maguire again. All 3 of them with
yeah,
the
he
podiums
does.
back in.
He
and,
does.
All of a sudden, De Vries looks as if he's got a bit more traction, and Maguire's struggling again. So interesting to see.
Yeah, he's really being careful with that engine as De Vries, but right now at least Simracing's really pushing hard. You know, he wants this. He wants this P2, and he thinks he can probably go for De Vries in P1 as well. But this could be interesting to see if Simracing is on course for this P2 or not, because he's closing in on Maguire, and this strategy for these Adonises might not be working.
Yeah, but
There's not much longer to go.
closes back in. He closes back into De Vries on straight.
Oh, look at that. That is so close. There is not long to go in this race, though. That's the thing. They're about to complete lap 50, go on to lap 51. You know, there's about to be 3 laps to go in this race. If Simracing's got to make a move, he's got to make it now.
Yeah, and the thing is that if he's close enough to Maguire, is Maguire close enough to make a move on De Vries? It could get really tasty. Look how much road they're using on the outside, every single bit that they're allowed to make sure that they open it up and they work well for the Adonis boys. So yeah, should be fine into turn 1. I can't see Simracing doing anything from this far back, but he seems to have so much more confidence on the brakes.
Yeah, Simracing at the moment really pushing in on Maguire's position here. De Vries is just going to try and hold him in the DRS, but look where Simracing is. He's pushing now. He'll be having orders from David Yote, team boss, to get the hammer down, Sunshine, because he wants this race victory. He is within touching distance of it, and right, Kilt behind knows if all goes wrong, he could be in for some better positions himself.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's testament to what Wright's done, because he hasn't fallen away too far. You know, he's only 3 seconds off the lead, so that's fantastic.
Right, Kears Magazine, I presume, to get some new tyres and fastest lap attempts.
Yeah, absolutely. It hasn't quite worked out for Laurent from the back of the grid, but good effort nonetheless. Obviously, try and get a fastest lap at the end, I'd imagine. But yeah, Simracing's still not close enough to make a move, don't think. Closer than he was on the last lap, mind, and we got pretty close, so let's see what he can do into T12.
Yeah, really pushing hard here in certainty, but giving it a go is Simracing. He wants this, doesn't he? But he's not got much time. He is running out of the darn stuff. You know, he's sat here in P3, he's playing for time, and it's running out.
Absolutely, I love that as well. And Sapala's only 1.4 down as well on Gobi, and 6/10 faster on the previous lap. So that's going to get really close. Probably on the last lap, actually, with DRS as well.
Oh, here we go then. 2 laps to go. This is the last lap but 1 in this race. Liam De Vries leads from Adam Maguire from Yerny Simracing. Does Simracing have it in him to get this P2? Maybe even the race win here. Or will it be De Vries from Maguire? Will it be Maguire from De Vries? Who knows? I think in the next 3 minutes we're going to find out.
Yeah, definitely. And look how close it is down at the end of the top 10 behind Mashuli as well. Or Maguire actually at the front of that train. Luke Maguire, Mashuli, both the evolutions, and then Fournier, who's done well to get up into 12th, and Rouault as well. They're all pretty close. I don't think anyone's close enough to make a move, but Jordan looks faster than Bock at the moment.
Well, this could be fun. I mean, Yannick Bock at the moment, obviously trying to catch up to Aris Mashuli, trying to obviously keep ahead of his teammate Dennis Jordan. And we know the Evolution lads are allowed to fight if the opportunity presents itself. Traffic now coming in the way for Simracing. We'll see what he does on Maguire here. He won't make the jump, obviously, will he? He's not going to go for here. He is going to go from here, but he just misses out. Maguire gets oversteer, but he's put the pressure on with 1 lap to go coming up. And Yerny Simijic now, I think he's starting the attack.
Yeah, crucially, Adam Maguire managed to stay on the racing line, and it didn't compromise him through the end of the final sector, which will help him stay ahead. But Simijic so much better on the brakes.
He's going to need all the DRS he can get off Duval here. Ultimately, as we possibly come round now, this is the last lap then. Simijic versus Maguire versus Duval. The top three within a second of each other as we start the final lap.
He blindsided himself in the final corner, had a few goes again, it turned in, so it cost him a chance into turn one. Now he's going to have to put all his eggs in the T12 basket.
He is going to have to. He's going to have to literally lunge like no lunge has ever been lunged before. You imagine if he's close enough, but he is giving it the full beans here. He's using every inch of the curb he can find. Maguire and Duval working together in perfect synchronicity, just keeping each other in each other's range to benefit. And Yerny Simijic has got to try something quite amazing if he wants to get through here.
I think he's been attacking the curbs too much, so he was closing in fine as he was. He got side by side on the last lap. He just had to keep it clean. Oh, he's a much better driver than I will ever be, but he got very aggressive on the curbs and lost a bit of time for him in the sector. Is he close enough to make the move into turn 12? I don't think so.
Well, we'll have to see here. Maguire and Duval coming into 12. But Simijic lined it. Oh, and he loses it. He loses it. He's gone round and Kilk's going to get on the podium. Right, Kilk is going to get on the podium. I don't believe it. He had to try something and now he lunges and he loses it again. He takes Kilk out. Oh, Yerny, that was a bit naughty, my friend. Oh, Yerny.
It's not like Simijic at all.
No, it's not. Liam Duval, though, round the corner. He's never won in Superleague, but he wins today. From Adam Maguire in P2. From Right Kilk, who is going to get on the podium. He does it. Yerny Simijic comes across the line in P4, but that is very provisional. I think Kilk will have something to say about that contact. Matthias Moose is P5. A 3-5 for Red Archer. Superb.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gobi managed to hold on to 6th. Zapala never got close enough to make a move. Bock only 10th behind Mashiri and Luke Maguire.
Oh, wow. What an end to the race. Jimana Zapala, our driver of the day, though, in P7. From Luke Maguire in P8. From Everest Mashuli 9th. And Yannick Bock in a disappointing P10. From Dennis Jordan, from Jeffrey Forney, from Stefan Brewer, from Robin Panzar. And Giuseppe Ragusa rounds out the points in P15, but Yerny Simijic is not going to be a popular lad with the Red Archer team after that.
Some Adonis donuts going on as well. Always good to see them having a bit of fun at the end of the race. Is that Luke Maguire as well? Oh, a bit of contact. Oh dear. Good to see everyone having a bit of fun at the end of the race. Well deserved for the Adonis guys who, to be fair, really controlled that brilliantly, and it forced Simijic to show his hand, and unlike Yerny to make a mistake like that at the end, and yeah, quite uncharacteristic.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue he had to try and do something, but he locked his brakes. You would think he would have learned from the previous attempt, and he just lost it and slid into Kilk. That was a bit careless, you got to feel, but it's one for the stewards. Ultimately, they'll be deciding on that one if it's reported. And, this race is not complete, in terms of final results, obviously. But regardless of which, Duval, Maguire, Kilk, your podium from today. And I'm sure we're going to have some very spicy interviews coming up very soon.
Absolutely. Some fantastic performances. Obviously, we've already mentioned Zapala, but Ruwalt did well. Panzar did well from the back of the grid, of course. Obviously had a bit of contact earlier on with Maguire, but nevertheless, to get points from the back of the grid, pretty good effort. Malinek didn't quite get past Ragusa like we said he might at the end of the race. So, double points for Abruzzi and double points for Burst to having one of the cars at the back of the grid.
Well, let's waste absolutely no time. Let's bring our race winner into the broadcast room. It's Liam Duval. Liam, a Super League winner at last.
I can't believe it. It's been a long time coming. But obviously 2 years ago, I remember you commentated that beautiful race, Melbourne 2018. I just lost it in the last few laps, but I've got it finally, and I'm really happy. I mean, the car was good. upgrade wise, we've done an amazing job. Big thanks to Adam and Eros, because honestly, without them, I wouldn't have won at all. They made a brilliant setup, and honestly, I didn't do much at all this time. So massive thanks to them. And finally, we can give Urine and Evolution a taste of their own medicine with their slipstreaming each other, so no one can pass. It feels good.
Yeah, that was we were remarking about that the whole race. That was some very clever stuff, really. You were short shifting the entire way through. You weren't even using going to 11,000 RPM.
Well, yeah, at the end I had 0.5 liters left. That's why.
Oh wow! I thought it might be fuel.
Yes, well, I mean, I did donuts at the end, but there was only like 3 donuts before I ran out of fuel. So, yeah, I was close on fuel. Also, want to give a big thanks to Sandeep Singh. He was engineering us, and he kept me up to date with everything really nicely. And yeah, also with the fuel. Without him, I would have probably run out. So, massive thanks to him as well.
Yeah, good for Sandeep. We all love a bit of Sandeep, don't we? And well, Adam Maguire as well joins us as well. The other half of the Adonis lineup. Adam, P2, a fantastic result, puts you back in championship contention.
Yeah, just like that, but kind of in the running, I guess. But yeah, I'm quite chuffed with today. But more or less, the team's championship is what we're focused on today, and it's a very good day for us. And I'm really happy for Liam. Like, congrats to him. Really wanted him to get a win this season, because I think it can boost up his confidence and motivation a lot more, and he'll get more wins this season, I think. Yeah, I had a bit of an incident with Robin Panzer though, but I had a dark blue damage.
Oh, there was damage. Yeah, there was speculation that there may be damage to deal with, and that's why Liam was allowed to lead from me, because we were wondering why you weren't in the lead of the race. You know, you were needing the win to help your championship hopes.
No, I don't really mind about the drivers. It's the teams, like. But yeah, the damage I think it cost me a bit, but it seemed like it wasn't costing me too much. But we'll have to review it. I didn't really feel like it was my fault or anything. I thought I thought I got turned in on, but it's just me.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that's all to be coming out in the wash, I'm sure. But regardless of which, you've got some very good results today, first and second. And, well, Evolution had an absolute nightmare of a race today. It was 10th and 11th for them in the end. So, by my calculations, you know, you guys have just come out with a maximum of 42 points here. By my calculations, you're just retaking the lead of the team's championship.
That would be perfect. Well, let's just hope I don't have 66 cuts again. So
no, because I think you scored 43 points. I think they only scored like 11. So you know you got a 32-point advantage. The gap coming into this race was 27. So I think you've done it. You've retaken the lead.
Well, that's perfect. I mean, that's mainly what we're focused on. No one really cares about Adam's stupid title, but we want to win the constructors. And you know, I didn't understand why they're so having an off day. You know, they're always up there. They're really good drivers.
Their engines, I'm sure, bad engines.
They did have bad engines, but yeah, I'm still surprised because you know, they're really good drivers and they've been playing with us all year. So I'm expecting them to be really strong again next race and the entire season. So it's going to be a really close battle.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm just waiting to see if we can get your team boss in as well, Menno Clown. Whether he wants a couple of words. Yep, he says, of course, he can have a few words. Oh, we love a bit of Menno. I'm going to have to move him up a couple of channels to get here. But he is, in fact, going to join us now. Menno Clown, Adonis team manager. Well done, Menno. 1-2.
Yeah, well, we don't have, we can't get enough of those days, but it was amazing from the sidelines to see the team score a 1-2. I'm really happy, and yeah, we got Liam in the car halfway the season, and yeah, he now delivered, and I think he already delivered in all the tests we did before. But yeah, for him to win the race, it's very good, and also for, of course, Adam to finish P2. It was so close the whole race, and then to get this result, it's amazing, and yeah, I'm really happy with the guys, the work they put in and everything. So I think they deserve this result. So yeah.
Josh might have gone, so just going to ask, you know, was that a planned strategy at the end, Menno, with the way that Liam was going, or was that purely just Liam's fuel?
Yeah, you need to ask them actually, because I wasn't that involved this race, so I was watching a bit. more than the sidelines.
Adam pitted earlier to undercut, well, not undercut, but to protect from the undercut with Jerne and Wright as well. And basically, his tires were worse because of that. So I guess that's in the end why I was able to go long, and that's why in the end we, I really tried to pull him with me, what Adam tried earlier in the race, which actually worked really well. I got through the field really nicely because of the teamwork, and in the end, I think we just managed to hold on to P2 because of the same strategy.
And very, very quickly, for all of you, what are you thinking for the next race? Is it going to be a similar thing for you guys to?
Yeah, 1-2.
Yes, strong track for you, or is it one that you're going to struggle a little bit more on?
Personally, I think Suzuka. I don't know. I honestly don't know because I've never driven there. Actually, I've driven there once, but wasn't really that great of a race. But I was new to the sim then. I think Dennis Jordan's really good on Suzuka, so we're gonna have a tough task ahead of us.
Awesome, Adam, for you.
Yeah,
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? Oh, sorry, I got myself back. I was going to say, I was just trying to interject there because I have actually, it's the case of the old unreliables for the internet, so I managed to switch over. But yeah, you were going to say, Adam?
I was just going to say I'm a bit scared of all the corners, yeah.
I
might ruin my tires quite early, but yeah. It's a common thing this season.
Yeah, you'll have to consider, I think, tyre wear in the next 3 races if that's the case, and Suzuka really is as nightmarish as you say it is. But regardless of which, it's been a pleasure to have you 3 here, and retaking the lead of the team's championship, exactly what you aimed for this time around. Matt Clark, Liam Duvall, Adam Maguire, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for the broadcast as well.
Pleasure as always. And I don't know if we've got anyone else who we can have an interview with. I don't think anyone else is in the interview room, so I think that's going to be it. I think that's going to be.
Scared them all off, Josh.
Yeah, I've scared them all off. Yeah, I blame myself for that one. Sorry. Yeah, but what a race that was, though, Ewan.
It was, and it was very different to the classics that we've had since the summer break. Really, it wasn't actually filled with that much overtaking that we've seen in the last few races, but the intrigue, the excitement, the way that the tyres were working on each of the 3 up front, and some of the surprises who are filled to power that we have to mention again. Very interesting. And the thing with Bock finishing down the bottom and Maguire finishing up the top there, really, really keeping the championship interesting going into the last 3 races.
Yeah, really is going to keep the championship alive. I mean, Adam Maguire gets 18 points. Yannick Bock only gets 6, I think. So there's a 12-point gap reduction. He is going to go in with about 25 points a gap. There's a race gap, but it's not nearly as much as it was before. And Adonis are the leaders in the teams now. That's significant.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, it's probably going to swap all the way to the end of the season now, the way that it's going. So, look forward to it, as always.
It's going to be a corker. I definitely think you should be tuning in 2 weeks' time for the next episode of this Super League drama that we have. But until then, of course, I'd like to thank everyone involved with the broadcast. I'd like to thank our cameraman, Gerrit de Vries, who has done a sensational job on the cameras today. So thank you, Gerrit. I'd like to thank Ewan Gale for providing such colour to the broadcast as he always seems to do these days. So thank you, Ewan, and thank you, everyone who is watching and has watched Super League throughout the rest of this season. And we are going to be certain that we will put on a good show for you come 2 weeks' time with 3 rounds of the championship to go. We will see you for the next time at Super League Grand Prix Racing. But until that time, I've been Joshua Anderson, and until the next time we see you,
we'll be in Japan in a few weeks' time.
Oh, bloody hell, are we still? I have to say, am I back? I am back, right? Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that happened. Sorry about that. Internet went, but yeah, see you in 2 weeks' time for Suzuka.